Almost! Look, the spring has sprung. Just putting my makeup on. If you see me without makeup, you guys should leave. I like that song. Coming up, here we go! Warning, Arch's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised. Here we go! Here we go! What are you guys doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm sitting here talking to you guys. What is going on in the world of small equipment? Checked out some of Ken's today. I'm actually going to bring up some of Ken's stuff. I want to say, hey, everybody. I see Jamie O, Henry, Johnny Bravo. Is going to be in and out? Lewis stopped in. Say, hey, everybody, whoever else pops in later on. And, of course, for those of you that seem to come back later on, I guess it's more fun to watch in the recorded session because you can just like zip through the craziness, right? And just skip to whatever. You know, we got some cool stuff coming up tonight. So as the thumbnail suggests, well, MTD is crap. I'm getting to that right away because like for the past couple of weeks, I keep saying I wanted to get to that. And also the last lawnmower, right? Like what is going to be the last lawnmower, gas-powered lawnmower? What is it? Well, I think we know what that is. We're going to take a look at that. I got a little short thing I put together where MTD is crap. And I think that's really what it's going to be, which is kind of sad because gas-powered equipment is going bye-bye. I mean, there'll be a few things around for a while. We're going to talk about that too. Let's bring up the itinerary. Now, I didn't do a lot preparing for tonight because, fellas, I had shit to do. And I got hacked this week as well. So we'll talk a bit about that. So coming up tonight, we got a full roster because I got some other things, scrolling around in my brain if I can actually remember any of it. MTD equals crap. I think it does. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've come across. And that's been out there now for, I want to say, I don't know, you guys could help me out with that. I want to say about 10 years we've had this current crop of box store extravaganza. They started off with the flatheads, and then they went to the OHVs. And I think that's going to be the last engine that we see. Now, you might say Power More and Power Smart, and I think that's something that we can talk about tonight and in the future if you guys have anything on your brain and you want to spill it out. I want to say thank you, everybody. Last week, I think it was, you guys were helping out another fella in the chat window, and I think that's just awesome. That was nice to see. Everybody was chatting and ignoring me, which is what I want you to do, right? But I do want you guys to like include me in every now and then because it's awesome when you guys feed me stuff and it distracts me and we go off in a different route. And I love that. I think that's awesome. I like to be distracted. I generally spend my life that way. So why break a good thing? I don't know. And so, yeah, the end of gas mowers. Certainly, I think the mowers, the smaller ones, the pushers, and that can lead us to another road of, well, could be maybe we're going to see the entry into the field of just only Chinese manufacturers. We could talk about that in a bit. And some project updates, some cool stuff. And some comments I have. I've been coming across equipment, mostly more lightweight contractor equipment. And I don't know who's working on these things. I think it's something we can talk about, and you guys have your ideas. I'm suspecting that because times are tough, maybe some of these people are hiring people that just can barely move a wrench and turn a ratchet and swap out a part. It's pretty sad. So I'll actually have some videos coming out soon, a little bit more on that. I already released one. I think it was not the Time Master, it was the Turf Master. Well, somebody got at that. The Time Master, I don't think I released that one yet. That was another one. Somebody got at that. Usually I see just the usual homeowner stuff, which is why a lot of us do the YouTube to try to help them out. Can you help out somebody in the field? And I don't know if they even bothered to watch any of the how-to stuff or the helpful stuff. And so also, what does that mean? And also, I'm thinking too, like for YouTube, listen to the fellows chat a little bit today on Ken's show, a little bit about the sort of changing of the guard to electric machines. What does that really mean for guys like me, some of you guys that do YouTube channels, from the YouTube perspective, as well as the small equipment mechanic? I think a lot of it has to do with where you live in terms of the small equipment mechanic. We'll talk about that. But the YouTuber, right? So if you're doing how-tos, and a lot of it is around the homeowner, which is really, it's the homeowner that watches a lot of our YouTube stuff. It is the homeowner that is trying to get into maybe a new hobby, or they don't have the money, they don't want to spend it on a mechanic up the block. Maybe they don't even have one, which is another thing we can talk a bit about as well. And so they're not, I mean, how many YouTubers are going to specialize in just, let's just check out this new electric mower and fix it? Like, what are you going to fix? You can show how to change a blade and sharpen a blade, and then what, right? How to clean it. Maybe in the future you might see some servicing and stuff. Brett recently did a video, we'll talk about that a little later, and he was just comparing, I think it was his cousin got a new electric mower, which seemed pretty decent, and he was comparing it, I think, to the older Craftsman, and I was thinking, well, the older Craftsman is kind of neat. We're going to take a look at that later on. I want to go to, just scroll through his video real quick and show you the older Craftsman with the twin blades. It sounded pretty mean, but the batteries are beat, and it's too expensive. And I think there was something else that she didn't like about it. Remember, these are earlier electric battery operators. So Henry's here. So he says, that's a promote people to get into electronics and robotics, because that's the future. Yeah, and they're forcing that into the future, and it's here, right? So it's definitely here. So we're going to have to deal with it. And I actually have some videos coming out too on those batteries. I have another video coming out on sticking one of those LiFePO batteries. It's not just a lithium ion, it's a lithium iron oxide phosphate. And I stuck it in one of those jumper packs as a project. It's like a project video. Because I like doing projects, and I'm thinking ahead a little bit and thinking, well, I've always did. When I first started the YouTube channel, I said, well, I'll call it Arch's Garage because I don't want it to be just small engines. I don't think I'm just going to stay with that. And I also think that it's going to be difficult to continue to do small engines because a lot of this stuff is going to become electric. So I don't do the battery stuff really. And I don't even know if there is going to be anything to do. So we're going to get to that and some other project updates and stuff. But I wanted to see what you guys were up to first. And let's see, you guys are here. Lou says hello, everybody. Henry says that's to promote the electronic stuff, because the future is definitely here. And from a YouTuber's perspective, I guess it depends upon how varied the equipment is that you do. And also where you live. Like for me, where I live on the island, a lot of the properties are smaller. So a 21-inch mower is probably all you're going to need. And one of you fellows mentioned something there was one that was 16-inch. Yeah, for some of the much smaller properties, that's a really good solution. Personally, I think for homeowners, I got to say, I think the electrics are probably a better solution for them, because every year They don't take care of the machine. They don't stabilize the fuel. They just don't seem to do anything. Oh, let me get comfortable. They don't even clean it. There doesn't seem to be any desire to maintenance it. And a lot of them, I know in my old neighborhood, it's getting so expensive to live in suburbia that in my old neighborhood, when I moved out years and years ago, out this way, the garages were being turned into apartments. In fact, I turned my garage into an apartment, and my wife at the time, we were taking care of my mom, and we turned the whole downstairs into an apartment. It came out really nice. Eventually, my sister bought the house. Mom passed on, and the neighborhoods were filling up with cars and transients. Now, the properties have like your typical 70 by 100, 60 by 100, that kind of stuff. And the corner house that I lived on, I didn't like it because it was mostly corner and didn't have enough of a backyard. But it has a decent enough property. I mean, if you want, we had at one point, we had massive hedges going around it, so that was a lot of work. But a good Black & Decker corded electric machine, I think it was heavy too. My father used to wield that thing. His arms would be all pumped up. It was a nice Black & Decker aluminum bodied, corded machine. That was enough. He would castellate them and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And then we planted bushes and trees, and everything kind of grew up. It was potato fields at one point. But you go there now, and the people that are renting, of course, they don't care about the lawn or whatever. It has to be the property owner. And I think an electric is a better fit for most of those people. And of course, with the consumer being forced into it, I think right now, a lot of people are looking at, where are they? Like, they're sitting on the fence. One of a potential customer called me up the other day, hit me up on the phone, whatever, got my number and said, I'm thinking about a lawnmower. What do you got? I would like something self-propelled and, with a bag. I said, well, Honda maybe. I said, I got a nice Honda. I'm almost done with it. And I called him back. I said, I'm done with it. And he said, well, my wife or whatever, she's looking at a $400 and something DeWalt. And, will you hold it for me? I said, well, I'll hold it to the weekend. But, I generally don't do that. I just said it because I wasn't in a rush and I was busy. And I really didn't feel like having anybody here because it's just, for the past couple of weeks, it's been consistent distractions. Well, they never called, right? But the lady of the house is probably going, I don't want to mess with the gas. I don't want to mess with that. You're not going to fix it. I'm not going to wait on you. It's every year. It's the same thing. And they probably splurge for the DeWalt. Now, they go over to the box store and they plunk down a credit card. Whereas that's the other thing too, is they're trying to do away with cold cash. Okay. This is something that's been announced by, obviously, the World Economic Forum, by the United Nations, by the European Union, but even by our government, Bank of America, et cetera, Jamie Dimon, BlackRock, all of this stuff. They want to get rid of cash. And since the dollar is crashing anyway, it's lost 99% of its value, which is why everything is getting so expensive, not to mention people abusing the situation. People are looking at it, and a lot of people have said to me, I don't want to go to the bank. Do you take Venmo? With the option of Venmo or something like that, I mean, PayPal has screwed me, frozen my accounts, which, by the way, it's going to happen with the digital dollar. That's already happened to me several times. People are looking at it and going, I don't keep cash on me. I don't use it. I'm not going to give you cash. Do you take Venmo? And they're sort of starting to frown on the concept of buying a used machine without a warranty, even though it's cheaper, when they can just plunk down their credit card. And the push for green, which it isn't, it definitely is not green. It takes a tremendous amount of resources to make an electric battery, and the frame of the mower and everything else, that you're not saving anything there. So I think that they're right now they're on a fence, and some of them are going to lean towards the battery, which I completely understand. Battery trimmers, battery hedge clippers, hedge trimmers, weed whackers, and even some of the small saws. Because again, on the island, even out here, you might cut a little bit of firewood. You might want to cut some decking material, like some 4x4s or railroad ties. You might want to do a little cleanup. You might want to do a little de-limbing. The pros take the trees down because, and of course they're going to get still and echo and whatever else. That's going to stay, I think, for a long time. But even some of them, because the yards are close and you don't have room to drop a tree. You need, unless there's a storm, but how often is that, right? Most people say, well, I'll buy a chainsaw, like I'll buy like when I need a generator or something. Yeah, when the power goes out, right? They go rushing over. So this is a lot of scenarios to kind of think about and positioning yourself if you want to do this as a hobby or even for a living here, wherever you are, but I'm speaking more to here. Same thing like in this wintertime, there was 2 years it didn't snow. Snowblowers were impossible to sell, right? And if you did sell them, it was in December. You had a very small window and you couldn't get a lot. And then by January, if it didn't really snow, in February, that's it. You weren't selling them. You were giving it away. Let me see what you guys are up to. Shawnee says, hey, Shawnee. And Brett says, hello, everybody, and hi to me. And then Francis Lang is here. All right, nice. So it's something to consider. And I think about it. And on one hand, I think it was Klaus was saying, like, he's pretty much sold off most of what he had, I guess, in gas. And I can't say I blame him, especially in an area where you're more in town or the city or whatever, or, urbanite. And it's cleaner. It's easier to deal with. The batteries have gotten better. So you got that. And I can't say I blame him. Now, I have more property for people that are in colder climates, for example, like Wayne and everything, and people up in Canada, or people more in New York, upstate more. They're going to need snowblowers. I don't think they're going to be ready to kind of cave and buy an electric one. Some might, but many won't. Here, they would think about it. Here, they would definitely think about it. So even the used market, I think, is going to get soft. And I do see a little bit of softening. I got one guy who wants to come tomorrow. There's a different fellow. He's looking at the Honda. I'll show you the Honda a little bit. You're actually going to see a few scenes of it, and then I'll show you what I did to it after the quick video. I would like to get $180 for this Honda. It's a HRR, and everything's been gone over. The only thing it needs is new rear wheels. The gears are fine. Everything is fine. The bearings are good. Machine's in nice shape, but the wheels are a little worn, and they're not that expensive. But if I buy those wheels, then I know it's probably like $30 or whatever, plus tax, what have you, ish, 30, maybe 40 tops. But then there's really not a lot of money left in that. So it's something for me to consider. Like, I could show the people how to put it on if they want to buy them and they want to bring the machine back. Maybe bring it back in a year, and I'll do a quick tune-up, clean it, deck defoul, throw the wheels on for you. If they buy it for my price and they go and buy the wheels and want to come back in a couple of weeks, I'll put them on for you while you wait, all right? I'm willing to do that, but I can't see laying it out. And I think a lot of people would say, well, and you'll see the machine, it is very nice. Well, how about 160? I got to buy these things. You spend time on them. You have the materials. You got oil and a filter and your time and whatever else. Let me catch up. See, Brett says, just finished cutting the front yard with the big Toro. Sweet. Did you fix the Toro, or were you hacking that thing around, pushing it, Brett? Francis says, in Canada, the electric snowblowers won't fly. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So I think depending upon where you are, this is going to present slightly different. And I think for my old neighborhood, there used to be plenty of like lawnmower shops, rental places. And when I was growing up, a family owned a hardware store, Seco Hardware, and they were older, like my parents' age. They were a little older than I think, and they put their kids through college, my oldest brother worked there. I think one of my other brothers worked there for a time, like in between college and high school and whatever. They sold it and they moved to, Florida, wherever else. So they had a very nice business. That's like the kind of thing that's, you don't own most of the hardware stores today. There's some kind of franchise. You ain't putting your kids through school. It's all corporate, They did a lot of work. My father and I would go over there every year, get the machine tuned up. Sometimes, every couple of few years, he'd buy a new machine. I remember the old Jacobsons, the old Toros. I bought my lawn boy, first really nice lawn boy there, which I proceeded to run over a 2-inch oil fill pipe and a bunch of high grass and wreck the crankshaft. It was horrible. I still can't get over that. Here's CRISPR Talk here. Welcome. Francis says, yeah. So Christmas says, Arch, and a few days ago, I got me a 1989 Honda 3011 riding mower. Wow. It is unbelievable how good this thing is made. Wow, I would like that. I've never seen one of those. To the last 100 years or more, it runs perfectly and cuts perfectly. Yeah. And welcome, Frederick. Don't plan on a battery mower. CRISPR Talk says, I'll sell the HRR 216 with a bagger for $260 or so. Wow. Yeah, see, it depends upon your market, where you are, and if the people appreciate it. Like, one of the things that you can do is you can clean up a machine, make it really nice, and then you can put a reasonable for your area but high number on it, and then leave it, especially if you get started like now, early in the year. Just leave it and let it set. Now, from listening to Ken's show and talking to other people, and even Mick's show and going back, everybody has a little something different to say. In my area, I can't get that. Like, Pate gets more money, but the people I know his area is different than mine, and he didn't understand that. We both live on the island, but it's a little bit nicer area. There's a little bit more money. However, and he'll tell you, those people are a pain in the ass. They are. They will, like, you pay, okay, when you sell a machine there. Sometimes it's brutal. I mean, sometimes he's young, so he gets a little cranky, and he's young. Us older fellas, I think, we do approach things a little differently. I mean, he'll get there. Let's see. Brett says, going to all electric, giving into the dark side, in my opinion. But that being said, electric has its place. Yes, small flat yards are great for electric if you cannot pull a starter rope. And that's another thing. I actually mentioned this in a video which I haven't released yet. Like on my Honda, I went over my Honda HRX again, and I said I bought it with electric start because at the time I wanted to have my 12-year-old daughter cut the lawn because I had hurt my back. And everybody knows you wreck your back, you ain't doing this. You ain't just doing that right now. I kind of feel it at the end of the day. You torque, they call it torquing, right? Because it is. And you pull like that, oh, that would have crippled me. I mean, I was walking with 2 canes for years. And it has those nice, lovely, little turning knobs. You want to adjust the handle up or down. You just support the handle a bit. You turn the sprung-loaded knob. You go up or down where you want. It's got the detents. You turn the key on, a little choke. This one's got, the ground speed control. The HRXs and, my favorite. And dual blade. It's just a dream. I love the mower. You do have to service it, though. I mean, and she got real good at it. And it was a big help. And I love the mower. Actually, the mower that I have is not the one that I bought. I kind of beat that one up because I really couldn't fix it. I was really struggling. So I really didn't fix it. And when I started to get back into this again, I came across a fellow who didn't want his. And he wanted some stuff that I had. So we made this deal. And turns out the one that he had, like, mine was starting to blow a little smoke and everything. And I was putting some thicker oil in it, and I didn't take care of it, fellas. I really couldn't. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to sell this one. I'm going to keep this other one because it's mint. I took some of the better wheels, and I took whatever, and I was like, all right, we're out of here. There was nothing really wrong with my original one, but I got to admit, I did not take care of it as well. Now, electric start. You got a bad back, electric start. At that point in time, the battery-operated mowers that were around were not good. And I said this before, that we're still at that point in time right now where some of the early adopters are going to get screwed a little bit. I got screwed on those light bulbs. I made a big deal of it because what the hell did I know, right? Like, I mean, I'm not stupid, but I just need stuff. I went online. I'm like, I need LED bulbs. Let's try them out. And in 1 year, because they're on every day, they died, all of them, one after the other. And then I had to wake up. Now, it wasn't a big loss, fellas, but you can't, it's back to like you can't stupidly do anything anymore. Like it's nice when you can get away with that, but no. And I got these other bulbs, and I showed you guys that, a company down in Florida, and they're working great. I like the bulbs. They have a few different variations of these bulbs. And so now I'm becoming more educated on it, and I just made that nice battery pack, which I'll show you later. Let me catch up with you guys. Let's see. So Christmas is hooking up, which is not that you really. I'm gonna look for one of those mowers. Definitely, that might be nice to add to my collection, which is another angle for some of us. He says, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. People love their lawns here. Yeah, Johnny's from Alabama too. Alabama in the house. I know a couple other people too down there, and my brother, by the way, is supposed to be coming up. Maybe you'll meet him next weekend or whatever. I'm not sure. He's now from North Carolina, which I've been telling you, he's been trying to get me to go down there. So Brett says, electric has its place, but it is a dark place. But I think for some areas, it's a good move. And he says, and I still need to do the tranny, but yeah. But today, since it was warm out and the front yard was fairly flat, I didn't have to muscle it too much. And you got some exercise, and you exercise the machine a little bit. And he says, you got to show my ego on. That's what I said earlier. I think you just missed it. We're going to stop in there a little bit later on because I'm going to play a video and we're going to talk a bit more of different angles. But I want to go to Brett, I'll repeat it. I want to go to your video, just scrub through it, but I wanted to show a little bit of the mower that I think it was your cousin that she bought. But I also really want to show the older Craftsman, because I wrote to Brett in the comments and I said, ooh, I was looking at it, I'm like, maybe slap a different battery setup in there, customize it, because I kind of like the twin motors and the twin blade design. I don't know if it's twin motors but it's a twin blade design. And when you hear it, I'm like, ooh, that might be interesting. And what's the width cut on that older Craftsman? I don't remember if you mentioned it. I do like the one that she bought, which is just a single blade. But again, for a homeowner, that's really what you want, simplicity. Let's see. Orthor Thing. Oh, welcome. He says, I have an MTD engine on a TD30. Am I seeing that right? Yeah. And it's working well for 7 years now. Minimal neglect. Yeah, that's the key. Welcome, Gary Todd. MTDs may be junk, but personally, I think they're easy to work on and good repair for the money. Yes. Francis says, what will we do when the big guys quit making parts for our gas engines? I think that will be a ways off. There's a huge market out there, and that's a great. I want to focus on those two statements for a minute. So the older MTDs I thought were pretty good. I'm going to narrow in on the one that I'm going to show you in the clip coming up. And if you buy them new and you take care of them, they'll be pretty decent for you, but they're not going to hold up. After about 10 years, fellas, I like to restore and flip these machines that are 20 to 30 years old, and the older Craftsmans and even the older MTDs and the AYPs. These things, they don't take much. And a lot of times I just need a few parts and I get them going again. I don't need a full donor, machine. The one I just did, I got really basically one machine out of 4. That's bad, all right, for the new MTDs. The newer Briggs engines, I like them, and I might even want to go back real quick to Ken's. Ken came out with a video a couple of weeks ago or a week ago where he just kind of went over this MTD real quick. And it ran even with a plugged air cleaner, but it had sucked all its oil down. So I want to show that one real quick, just to target it and skip through it. It drank all its oil. And, the boxes say, don't change your oil, just add. And I did a video on that. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because what you're telling me is, when is it going to need oil? Because in the past, if an engine needed oil, it was shot. Like if you had to keep adding oil, either there was a major leak or the engine was shot and was blowing smoke. Remember the Navies back in like the 70s and the early 80s? Somebody that just refused to throw out their lawnmower, and you'd hear the thing start up and you just kind of like peek over and you see this cloud, right? And it wasn't even a two-stroke, and the guy is just cutting it and he just refuses. And the thing is just blowing, pounding smoke out. I can still see episodes of that in my head. Yes, when you have, I just did a couple of machines. I don't think I published them all yet, but I know I published one of them. Some of the newer MTDs that a contractor had, he doesn't use very often, but somebody was at it. One of them was the one where the guy, he didn't put the O-ring on correctly. It was revving like crazy. But these machines were in pretty good shape. Physically, once I cleaned them up, they still kind of shined. It's real easy to take the top hat off, whether you're a pro or you're a homeowner or just starting out. It's 3 bolts, kind of like the Honda. You can get in there and you can clean it, which is really important, as we know. If you can clean that out and get it nice and clean where it can cool itself down in the hot summers, especially if you live like in like Alabama or some of the other places where it gets really, really hot and you have a longer cutting season. And you don't live in an area where, like here, it's just raining again. It wasn't supposed to rain. I know the girls were pissed off because they drug everything up from the basement, and today was supposed to be the day for a garage sale. They put everything out, and within an hour, it's just started to rain, and everything had to come back in. And they're like, I don't know if I want to do this tomorrow. Meanwhile, the basement's much cleaner, looks nice, but the living room's a disaster. They're money makers because you can lean over and pop off the top, get to the plug, get to everything, clean it off, check everything over. The carburetor doesn't really get affected by alcohol in the gas. And where I am, that's all you're going to get. So you have all these advantages, and they're very lightweight. They're inexpensive. Well, they were inexpensive. See, that's the other thing, too, is I start measuring this against... You got to think about inflation a little bit here. And because I have a couple of videos on worst machine on the planet versus best machine. When they were $175 and $180, what could you expect, right? Nice OHV, cheap, inexpensive, push with a bag. What does it matter, right? And this is how they get you, okay? They start off like this. Now it's $340 to $340 with tax out the doors, at least. That's a very different thing. It's the same machine, but the quality was never there. And at $180, under $200 out the door, you get a couple of years out of it. Maybe it's your extra lawnmower. You don't feel so bad. But at almost $350, and that's not even one with the drive system. Let's see. Welcome, Gary Todd. Let's see. MTDs may be junk, but I personally think they're easy to work. Yes, so again, Francis said, yep, okay, big guys good making parts. Okay, Brett says, I ended up with that Craftsman. It has 2 motors. Okay, so no belts, direct drive, 20-inch cut, really. The blades easy to get? Author says, the old Wizards were awesome mowers. Yeah. Blarney, welcome, Blarney. Hey, Arch, I love working on the old Bolins. Yeah, those are cool. Rear engine riders. They're like little tanks. I think I have a Bolins variant out in the yard. I think the black one might be even a Bolins. And Frederick Von Cole, welcome. He says, Why is there a parts shortage? Well, there's a number of reasons for that. And there's a number of reasons for that. One of them right now is what's going on with that bridge. That bridge completely is disabling a major port of call in the Northeast. So that's a big problem. And they're still now the FBI's involved. Okay, they don't really want to comment, but it looks like this is either some kind of weird sabotage or an attack indirectly, a hack attack or something. But that's a major port. And on top of that, right, a lot of the parts manufacturers, I would say manufacturers themselves, like if you look at, I don't want to get too, into the weeds here, but if you look at Husqvarna doesn't really want to make a lot of this stuff anymore. And they bought up a lot of these companies in the Midwest and other areas in this country and essentially put them out of business and left the area and left a lot of people high and dry. And what they want to make is, $2,000-$4,000 and up machines, mostly robotic. And they just remember, this is European. It's coming out of the World Economic Forum. This is the UN. This is the New World Order, right? They don't want you to have this stuff. So a company like that can start making decisions about how they want to posture themselves in the market. And if that company will do it and another company will do it, and once they make it, like Honda, right? Honda was getting sued over lawnmowers by NGOs and California, etc. And they don't want the hassle. Okay, they've got other divisions to worry about. Meanwhile, a lot of people that work in this country, because that's stuff that was being made here, they're going to lose their jobs. And that's what just keeps happening. So at some point, a company has to make a decision. Where is the market? What are the political forces coming through? You may agree with them. You may not agree with them. But that's the climate. And that's, like I said, I don't want to get into the weeds. But for us, like for somebody like me, servicing machines and equipment and even doing YouTube, you might want to start thinking about posturing yourself in that market. If you were in California, you'd already have postured. You'd have no choice because it was this year when a lot of it went down. And I played some clips. Oh, who's that? Let's see. Oh, Brett sent a photo. Let's see what the photo is. Let's see if I can even get into it. Because I got hacked. So I'll talk about that real quick. Let's see if it comes through. I still, which leads me into the next thing. Let's see. I got to unlock. He says, not too early on Sunday. He goes, no, I wouldn't. All right, that's a potential customer. You got to wait. It takes forever. Of course. Oh, cookies. Okay, ladies, shush for a minute. I'm trying to find something. Let's see what Brent said. Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, let's see if it even comes through. Oh, I can kind of see it. Oh, that came nice. I don't think you guys are going to see it, but I don't have my Facebook. No, you're not going to be able to see it, really. If I hold it on an angle. Yeah, that came nice. Nice little, yeah, because your front is small. Yeah, that's right. So it's no big deal. You must have been done in like 5 minutes, bro. Let's see. There's Blarney. We're working on the old projects. Is with a part shortage, Bleach. Hey, Bleach. Hey, feeling good in the neighborhood. Feeling good in the neighborhood. Bravo says intermission in play. I hope all you guys are doing well. Rebuilding my 35+ year old Craftsman compressor. Yeah, nice. Vid up likely Tuesday. Cool. Plus test on the cooler moisture separator. Nice. Yeah, was that you? Yeah, you did a video. Didn't you do one where you had all these pipes and stuff that you were using as a separator? Is that you? Krista says, speaking of Husqvarna, I just sold for $260 a Husk 5521 BBC with the Honda engine and blade clutch. Those are nice. Excellent machine. I like the clutches. Yeah, those are nice. Yeah, that's what my HRX has. Mike E., welcome, Mike. Just finished mowing with my 1999 Lawn Boy with a Tecumseh. Those are nice. Nothing these days come close to it. Welcome, Gabe. He says, I'm late. Yeah, that was you, Bravo. Yeah, I thought so. I seem to remember seeing that one. See, from our perspective, for those of us that are into it, our perspective may be, I submit that our perspective may be skewed. Because we will, and there are probably a lot of people like us, because even here, like I'm out more east, right? The property is a little bit bigger. The town over is still horse country for the most part, but it's getting weird here. It's changing again, right? I don't mean weird in a bad way. It's changing again. A lot of the properties that were here when I started moving in, they got subdivided and they put another house on it. And the cost of homes is really expensive. And I've sold a lot of lawnmowers to younger families, younger fellas that needed a lawnmower and they didn't want to buy a new one. They really couldn't afford it. So there's a market there. I've met a lot of people more recently, a little closer in our age, and I've been going over their machines, their older machines. I got one fellow, I actually got a whole bunch of work. I wanted to show you something too I got from him. That was the guy that I've gotten a few machines from. I did that Craftsman weed whacker that failed. And, you know, like I said, sometimes you take this stuff because maybe you want to make not a sale, but a customer out of it. And I did. I got a customer out of it. He's a nice guy. So there's different approaches we can take. And some of these, I'll show you a little bit about the Echo in a little bit. The old Echo, vintage Echo. It's got to be at least, it could be 20 years old. The PB something or other. It's a beautiful machine. It all had to come apart. I didn't charge them a lot, but it all had to come apart. And one of the reasons why I decided to do it was because when I went online looking for parts, I was overwhelmed with used parts available on eBay and whatever. I mean, every little screw. Fellas are taking these things apart. They're interested in them, and they're providing not just like some new stuff, but a lot of good used old stock. So there's going to be that around. But many people like me that are trying to do this a little bit more for a living, or that need the extra income on the side, depending upon where you are, it might hurt over the next few years as this transition unfolds. It might actually shut you down. It could very well, especially if you have any real overhead. That could really be painful, because the common man, the common woman, the common person, common homeowner that would be marshaling and, you know, their way through in and out going, can you fix it? I think it's just a carburetor. Can you fix it? I think it needs a blade. Can you fix it? I think it's water in the gas again. Can you fix it? Can you? And the steady stream every year of can you fix it is not going to be there. And of course, things are getting difficult. So a lot of people don't have the money, right? And I think when that starts to really happen, we're really going to see it. So that's, again, why I've been transitioning a little bit. Gabe's a snapper guy here. Yeah. I get this snapper guy. He was working for 40 years or whatever. I guess he retired out of snapper and building those, you know, snapper riders. And, you know, he's yelling at me because you got to read the manual, and I see this all the time. People don't, you know, service them right, and you're not fixing it right, and you need to do. Even that snapper guy yelled at me one time. I'm like, look, bro. I'm like, first of all, how many snapper dealers do you see around? I don't have any here. How many snapper of these lawnmowers do you think I see coming in my shop? Well, let's see, 2. Okay, and I own one. Separate from that, I don't see them around. They're not around. People don't necessarily want them. So you can't expect a small shop that gets this snapper in and is going to fix it according to the way you put it together of 40 years of effing experience, and then we're going to rush out and buy a manual for this. And then on top of it, no customer is going to want to say, yeah, mint the machine out. I don't care what it costs. One guy was like, that clutch thing isn't right, and you know, it's no good. I'm like, it worked fine. I'm like, the guy, I can't replace everything because I'll never make a dime on it. It's a very, don't put lube, don't put grease. What are you spraying that in there for? Bro, it's not brand new. It's been left outside, used and abused. It doesn't turn, it doesn't move, it's frozen. What do you want me to put on that? Dry lube? It gets silly, that some of the stuff that people say. You know what a guy said to me the other day? I showed something in one of my videos, and I said, when you put the blade on, right, clean the blade surface, both surfaces, so that there's nothing in its way, so it lays flat. I said, and do yourself a favor, for you or for the other guy, I said, put a little oil or, no-sees on the blade bolts. And the guy writes me back all of this stuff, and he sounded pretty logical up until the point where he says, I don't use any lube or any grease or anything on the blade bolts because I torqued them to 53 foot-pounds, and that's what they're supposed to be. If you put any lubrication on it, you could wind up over-torquing it. And I thought to myself, I'm like, there's nothing I could say to this guy to change this guy's mind. He obviously has no clue. It doesn't make any sense, because if there's rust all over the threads, then you don't know that you're torquing it to the correct value, because the friction loading is so high that torque wrench will pop off long before you ever get it to your so-called 53 foot-pounds. It's this by the book mentality. And like I said, I've been seeing a lot of weird stuff here. Let me catch up. I want to get to the next part of the segment. But yeah, snappers are cool. Yeah, but they're not around, and both my main mowers have blade clutches. The Toro and my Honda, yeah, I like the blade clutch. Bleach says, been feeling dizziness, numbness in my head. Nurse wannabe doctor thought I has a stroke. Then I said ear infection with antibiotics, feeling better. Nice. Krista says snapper craziness. Yeah, and they do get passionate though. That I have some cool old snapper push mowers and self-propelled outside that I need to get to. I've been storing them out there. They're out there rusting, but those are YouTube mowers. I mean, I might sell one of them. This is actually a slightly newer one. Before they stopped, I got out there with a bag. I think that would be useful. I think somebody would pay me a few bucks for that, and it would be very useful. Somebody around our age that remembers a little bit more and knows that they're decent machines. They're built well. Yeah, Tina, what's she saying? Yeah, so I got hacked, and what a nightmare, because this has happened to me before. And so I went to go. They tried to get in through my email. They got into my Facebook account, right? So I started to try to lock it down. And of course, the first thing that happens is this is over a week. They shut your account. They lock your account. And you back and forth using the cell phone and the computer, just sending codes. We're sending you a code. I don't get the code. Send another code. I don't get the code. Then they say, code not working. You put the code in, it doesn't work. Then they say, try again later. And then you read the facts and whatever. And they're like, well, try again the next day. So then you wait the next day. And I went in and I went and changed the passwords and everything on my email account and a bunch of other stuff. Came back in, and I finally got a little bit further, and I was able to continue the process of removing the hacker. Then you have to prove who you are. And so that you're setting up two-factor authentication again between the cell phone and the computer. And I got it turned on, the account turned on, waited a day, and it really happened hard, like, I guess a bunch of days ago. Was it last Friday? I don't even remember now. I wanted to sell this Honda. So I put the ad up, and this happened to me, I told you guys, like a year or two ago. I went to sell the Honda, and as soon as I posted the ad got blocked, right? And it's still blocked, right? My Messenger, my Marketplace is still locked. I cannot sell. I can't even look at it. So I'm like, once again, at the beginning of the season, right? I really could need the money. They locked me out. And it's better than anything else. Like, I think I use, not Let Go. What do I use? Hold on. I'll tell you. Yeah, Offer Up. That's okay, but nothing has the reach of Marketplace. Nothing. So I got locked out of that. And as soon as that happened, hacking, all this other stuff got shut down again. I just got it working again. So I went through a few more things, and they're like, okay, you have to prove your account again. Now they want a passport or your driver's license photo, whatever. So I went through all that. I got the hacker's email off of my account because that was another thing that I had to take care of. Went through all of that, waited like a day, got my Facebook account back and forth with this authentication nonsense. It not working, then it working a little bit, then not working, then not working. And I'm still blocked on Marketplace. And you have to ask for a review, which means you have to wait for somebody to actually look at it. They tell you 24, 48 hours. Now, last time this happened, it was like a month. And it's usually something stupid. Last time, it was because I used the word serviced. Like I just serviced the machine. You can't do that unless you have a... You can't say words like that on personal accounts. You can only say them on a business account, because in a personal account, you're not allowed to offer a service. So if you use the word anywhere in or out of context, the AI just picks it up and just goes, up, flag. You're banned. And the other thing I noticed too is that I'm not going to, no more groups on Facebook. Like there are these like buying, selling groups, like sell your shit online or whatever. I'm going to remove all of that. I don't even think I need them. I'm not going to use them because there are admins and rules within rules within rules, which is understandable. But all it takes is for you to step on one thing and then you're shut down. And by the way, this is the problem with programmable digital currency, because that's the idea, is to step on you. And it's programmable, which means if they don't want you buying too much meat or too much of this, they won't allow you to buy it. You timed out. You bought too much. You bought too much gas this week or this month. Or you bought too much of this other thing that we don't want you to have. This is crazy, right? And that's another angle to the small business operator, which is, the nice part of this technology is that you can use it like we're using it tonight to hang out and chat. You can use it to make money. You can use it as a side job. But then there's all of these other little gotchas that you could run into. And you're going to start to depend upon this stuff. I mean, if they get rid of cash, you have no choice. Right? And like I said, some of my accounts have already been hacked. I mean, I've had credit cards hacked. I've had PayPal for months and months and months block money that thousands of dollars when I really needed it, right? Of course. There's nothing you can do. There's like nobody's home. You call, nobody answers, you leave messages, it's AI looking at it, they don't want a human being involved. When you find a person, they have no authority. It's crazy. Bleach says, Tar Heel's back. He goes, hello, everyone. Bleach says, snappers are dependable and easy to work on. Yes. Yeah, even if the flywheel attacks your hands, yeah, you got to be careful, bro. You definitely got to be careful. Which says, good day, Johnny Bro. Says, fights back, streaming BBL. Oriel says, what the hackers get? They didn't get anything. A lot of times these hackers, all they really want to do is disrupt your life. There's nothing to get. I don't have anything. They just will disrupt your life and shut you down, and they feel good about it. And I actually think it's somebody in the area, because it's not in my direct area, but somebody out on the island a little bit more. Yeah, Marketplace is full of crooks. Christmas says, yeah, but where else can I sell locally with good? I know. It's so true. That is the best platform. And with the other platform I'm using on here, I set that up as an alternate. A lot of times I'll put the ads in both, because you never know. Big Mike, I met Big Mike through OfferUp and a few other people. Like Big Mike won't use Facebook. He won't use Marketplace. He just won't do it. Although he sees it. He sees it. I don't know if he has it or if it's his wife's or whatever, but he personally, I don't think he wants to get involved. By the way, I'm eating a cannoli. I'm going to have a little bit when I put the little video up. So the good, the bad, and the ugly is something to consider. I think there are a lot of, the other thing too is that I say this, living here on the island, growing up through the changes in the economy. I stayed here to kind of, when my dad father passed away, and I kind of took care of my mom. But I was looking to go elsewhere. I had a lot of opportunities. So that meant that I had to stay here with the economy that was here. Well, Grumman Aerospace went under, right? They got sold out. All of those side businesses, the machine shops, the support groups, all the support businesses, all that left the island. And of course, this is in the 80s and 90s. I mean, I would have been retired years ago already, and I've been basically a millionaire like everybody else. You wind up, all the people that I knew that worked at Grumman were multimillionaires, not necessarily in money, but like they would match your stocks 50-50, 1-to-1 up to a certain point. You accrued all this time. You had assets. They took care. They took care of. They'd go to motor vehicles for you. They took care of so many things. You worked a lot. I knew people that had property upstate, in Pennsylvania. So like I said, you accrue not necessarily cash wealth, but you get a lot of that, but you accrue things, right? And the consistency and the overtime. And then, of course, you retire and everything was taken care of. Well, that disappeared. So many other things disappeared. And so every time I got into a job market, like HVAC control systems, between 4 and 7 years, and then you got to reinvent yourself and get a new job. And I don't know, I just get the feeling that somewhere very soon from now, all of this mower stuff and everything is just going to dry up, particularly here, and then I'll be looking for something else, right? So why not start looking now? And my contention is that depending upon where you are, if you're a younger person getting into this, even if you're successful on YouTube or doing this as a side business, you're going to want to consider that. And within the next 5 years, I mean, it's already happening, but within the next 5 years, not much longer, and probably no longer than that, most of this kind of work is going to be gone. In areas that, like here, I do some, and quite a bit actually, of tractors, lawn tractors. You go out a little further or you go upstate, you're going to go from lawn tractors to things of that nature, even farm implements. Well, those people will probably be fine for now, for quite a long time. But where I came from, yeah, that's done. Okay. Gas-powered mowers and machines, you ain't doing that. I don't know anybody that does anything with tractors over there. And with snow blowers and pressure washers, it's. I got another guy. I got to call him. I was just thinking about that. Wants to drop off his pressure washer, and he's got a much bigger one. It's going to be very hard. Now, last man standing is the guy that's being more prepared. And when you have a last man standing, so to speak, well, they're going to get whatever the work that's left and the little projects and everything that's left. But again, if you're posturing yourself, well, then you might be one of the last people standing, and you might still do quite well, because there will be stuff, but it's not going to be this steady stream, especially in, when the spring hits and everybody's crying for, can you fix this? Let's see. Yeah, I like the offer up is not bad, but they're making changes to their policies now too. Reggie wants to know how everybody is. Gained 18 in the last month. Nice. Lewis says, have a wonderful night, everyone. Arch, thanks, brother. I have to go to grocery shopping with my wife. Sweet. Yeah, pick me up another half gallon of milk and some half and half while you're out. Rose says, back in a bit. Fights are good tonight. Brett says, okay, Brock, enjoy your evening, brother. Nice. Now, even like with YouTube, Francis says, do you not think people are going to want to keep the gas machines? No, many of them won't. Most won't, because it's just, they're not like us, right? It's a pain in the neck for them. It doesn't work right. You have to pull the cord. I mean, just the convenience of dropping a battery in it not having to call somebody or drop it off somewhere because you didn't mix the gas right, or you let water get in your gas because you left it someplace, or you left the lawnmower out and it doesn't want to start, and you're pulling and pulling, and just charging a battery, dropping it in, not even cleaning the machine because they don't, turning the switch on, not having to pull anything. The average person's going to love that. It's convenience. It's consistency. And for a smaller lawn, remember now, the average person, you're talking about average people that it's not like years ago. You're talking about suburbanites. When I was young, I rode horses. There's no horses over there anymore where I came from. There's no trails you can ride in. There's no place up the block that does that. When I was young and like my brothers and stuff, they shot guns in high school. All right. We had archery classes. There's no sharp objects and pointy things and brass cartridges on a regular basis. When I was a kid, I would go to the park where the big pool was and everything. It was a huge park. And our taxes paid for that park. And it was on the water, on the bay, and people had nice boats. Well, that was the change, right? Because then at some point, the average person could have a boat in that slip. But then it started to become, well, accountants could have it and lawyers. It started to become that. But I remember in season, there were guys out on the little flats shooting shotguns, hunting bird. And the boats are going around, and I'm sitting by the pool with my mom, and she's sunbathing, and I'm in swimming classes, and boom, boom, right? There's none of that. You do that now, the FBI will climb out of helicopters and ropes. Okay, SWAT teams will be pulling up, right? Now in places like that, they have those firearm detectors, like, what do they call those things that go off when they hear a gunshot detectors? I'm only 60. So that means in 40-something years of my life, all of this has happened and changed. I just turned 60. So what's going to be in 4 or 5 years? A lot, because it's already here, really. It's changing quick, right? Out here, I mean, depending upon what time of year, you'll hear it. It depends if it's deer season, whatever. But you don't hear it during the day. You don't hear it just any day. You wouldn't hear that in here. And where I am in the village, I don't know anybody that has chickens. I don't think the village would allow that. They would not allow a rooster. I mean, you might have chickens and rabbits, but I don't think they'd allow a rooster. I don't hear roosters. I don't think they'd allow it. Okay, so you're talking about an electric lawnmower in a typical suburban setting. Okay. And a lot of those settings, up until more recently, you go back 4 years ago when times were a bit better, well, they were hiring services. The fellas come while everybody's at work. You never even know they're there. And they make all that noise, and they come during the week, and when you pull up on a Friday night for your weekend or whatever, you maybe have one day off even because you're so damn exhausted and you got to make all this money to pay your taxes. There's no... And there's the other thing, too, noise ordinances. That's the other way they're going to get you. They'll start clamping down on noise ordinances, and they'll limit your use of some of this stuff like they did with blowers and other things, and people will just say, well, the heck with it. Okay, it's quieter. It's not all that much quieter, but it is quieter. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to start happening. The prices have to come down a little bit, and we do need a little bit better economy for this to happen. Like, our economy is just not good right now. So if you offer a gas-powered mower to some people right now, I think you'll be okay for a time within the 5-year zone. 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there. That's not very long. Let's see me catch up. So, I mean, I know I want to keep some of my gas machines. I mean, I some of them I need. They don't really make anything that I would want in a equivalent, and I can't afford that stuff anyway. Let's see. Bravo goes. He goes, we'll have to learn how to rewind motors. When I was a kid, we rewind slot car motors and learn how to make them scream. Yes, I remember those. I had the big track. My brothers had that. My sister had the big track like this wide. And I remember those cars. Those things are awesome. And then I got their model motoring, and then I got the FX stuff. And I still have the old Lionel trains, but I think the transformer's fried. And I have my HOs. I don't know if I have any FX car. I might. I don't know where the model motoring stuff is. My sister might have some of that stuff still. Yeah, but you're also going to have to learn electronics. Yep. Most of the stuff is just power, so. Sorry, this is, how long do you think the YouTube gig will be before it dries up? That's a good question. Shot spotters, bonus of shot spotters. They are everywhere in the city. Yep. Francis says, some campgrounds here in Canada, you can't use a gas mower. See? That's how it's going to start. So, again, the YouTube thing, I'm going to guess, I'm still trying to collect data, and I wanted to kind of feel out. So what a lot of people are doing with the how-to fix this, how to fix that, mostly lawnmower oriented, that's going to go away, all right? By and large, all right? If you're a YouTuber, you're going to start to see your income start to, drop from that. Some of the older fellows around our age, actually I was just chatting with a fellow, he has his own little channel, I guess he just started. He was looking at a fix I did on a rear-wheel drive Toro. He did something very similar, a little bit different to his machine, which is the newer Lawn Boys, 4-stroke Lawn Boys style rear-wheel drive. I think some of that stuff you'll see around for a little while, but once those machines are done, that's the end of it. Like, you don't need to know how to fix some of this stuff if it's not around. And the baby boomers, I'm at the very end of the baby boomer realm. Some of the baby boomers are a little old, obviously older. Sadly, we're all going to go. We may have interest in this for a time, but the how-toer and even the younger ones, 30, 40, 50, they're not going to want to know how to fix this stuff. So they don't care. So if you're getting a lot of traffic on smaller equipment, you may start to see that traffic really disappear. What I've been trying to do since the very beginning was try to do some project-oriented things. Vintage equipment a little bit more. It doesn't make me money, really, but it helps the channel overall. I mean, how-to stuff is where you're going to make your money. If you can get a bunch of how-to videos and show how to do this or that, and it's popular, well, you're going to make some money for it, and your channel's going to grow. But then it's going to reach a pinnacle at some point, because everything, sooner or later. I mean, there are shows on how to fix your Model T, but they're not really how to fix your Model T. They're much more involved in that. And they're not 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. These are shows. It's like a life relationship to a car. It's a different format. So a lot of this stuff, like the quickie how-to stuff, for saws and things like that, for people that are interested in them, or in a lot of areas, people rely on their chainsaws. Not here. So in those areas, saws will do well in general. Lawn tractors. A lot of people are still going to need those. And for a time, they're gonna want to try to fix the gas-powered ones and keep them going. But look at some of these newer ones that aren't that good, the box store versions. The LT110, the LT100, the transmission is a piece of crap. It's a known failure. And a lot of the ones that use that transmission or built like this, some of these with the crappy motors and stuff, people are not going to fix them. When they break, it's going to be too expensive to fix them. They're just going to go out and get it on a machine, and it won't be long before they buy an electric one. You need something a little bit bigger. They might say, well, no, I don't think I want the electric one. I think I still want to go with a gas mower. some type of a gas engine. So there's going to be this fence sitting, and depending on where you're putting yourself in YouTube, you may catch the down ramp on it all. And from a lot of the stuff that I've looked into YouTube, the guys the people that make money on YouTube, when they go look at YouTube, for example, they look at trends. And it's a technique, and I've said this before, you can look at a trend and you can look at all the trends of YouTube. You can narrow it down by genres that you think you would be interested in. Okay, so if you're not an artist, you're not going to try to make a video on art. Okay, but people get into YouTube because they think it might be cool and fun and a hobby, and they're looking to make money, and they approach it in this way. And they look at the trends, they find a category that they think they can make a video on, and then they look to see where is it positioned in the trend. If it looks like it's going up, they'll try to make a bunch of videos, and they'll see if they can ride that wave. And if it looks like it's at the peak or it's coming down, they make a decision. Well, you know what? I can catch the down part. There's still a lot there, money to be made. And there are people that build really nice YouTube channels based upon this concept, and they earn a living from it. They earn a very good living by doing that because you're getting huge views. A lot of the small equipment stuff for most people, not the big ones, not the ones that have hit, or the ones where people show TNA and short shorts and stuff, skin hanging out. All right, just the average person, they're like, if they're making a few $100s a month, that's a lot. And if they're positioned in a way where it's really on the downstroke, I mean, Joe Z said more recently, he's been doing it a long time. Okay, yes, he's changed some of the content on his channel, but he said even before that, he noticed a difference in the income level. I don't know why that is, but that's what he said. I'm not really sure why that would be. I've heard a lot of people say that over the past couple of years that I've been looking into it. Let's see me catch up. Let's see. Blarney says they are everywhere in the city I work in. Yeah, the shot spotters. Francis says some campgrounds here in Canada you can't use a gas mower. Blood nose. Hey, blood nose. Arch wouldn't like to go for a pee. Yeah, I will in a bit. I think I might go for a pee before I get to the next segment. How's the prostate on the pee lady tonight? Blood nose just laughed. She goes, I shoot my YouTube videos from 20 minutes to over an hour. Francis says, there's nothing better than a piston engine. I know. I love the smell of grass and gas. I love that smell, Bleach says, imagine in a parallel universe, Bleach worked on MTDs instead of snappers. Snappers is still kind of hot. That is on my top 10 on YouTube, 2 snappers videos are there. Okay. So, I mean, I could see why people get heated on snappers because it's for right now, and I don't know how much longer, but for right now, one can say that snapper videos are a thing. And people get heated. It's gotta be like this. You gotta do, Ron says after they squeeze us out, $10 says Musty will still be out there breaking all. Yes, and that's in Shangri-La. Welcome home. YouTube a few years ago was operating in the red, so they had to cut back on paying YouTubers. Oh, is that right? I'm not surprised. But Musty is one of those people that, like from the very beginning, he started off like that. So he slowly garnered over time. And back in the day when things were a little bit different, maybe it was a little easier. Remember, a lot of you fellas that have been out there doing this for a long time, you wrote the script, right? The OGs, you created the genres. I'm just bumping along afterwards. But you garner people over time. You grab them over time. It takes time to do that. And because he does something different, he's not pigeonholed. And I mentioned this last week, too, and when Joe was here. I said, it's easy to get pigeonholed in YouTube. It's easy. Because Joe was saying, I got to go, he had to go lock the chickens up because he put out a video on chickens and not a lot of people watched it. Yeah, because they were probably looking for more on that big earth mover machine that he bought, that 1960s, whatever the heck it was. That's big. But then you want to go do something else. I think over time, like if you don't let yourself get too pigeonholed and you do different things over time, this video that I'm going to release on the Echo blower is like an hour long because I had to take the whole damn thing apart. It is not going to be a popular video, but over time, people will watch it. It didn't run right. I looked at it. I saw that there was interest in it. People are selling every nut, bolt, and screw. I think it's a fine machine. And it required coming apart. I took it all apart. If you find an old one, there's a good chance you're going to have to take the whole damn thing apart. You might want to watch it. You might be interested in it. It's going to be a small piece of the market. And I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it for the YouTube channel, but for myself. And over time, it will get watched. Somebody will watch it. They might buzz through it a little bit, but that's okay. It's part of the overall YouTube experience for me and an offering. The mini bikes over time. The one I did that's an hour long in a Tecumseh engine. That's going to be over time. There's not that many people are going to be interested in it, but there are people out there that are. So, and I just did a couple of videos on these batteries, and I got another battery that I might say yes to. It's huge. It's like a $400 battery. I got to figure out what the hell I want to do with it. I have ideas, but I'm not really ready for it. But when the offer is made, you maybe need to get ready. So that's why I'm saying I'm doing different things, and not everybody's going to want to watch what I'm doing because maybe they're just more interested in small engines. They want to see that. If you focus on a still chainsaw, you'll probably do fine. Get another chainsaw, and then do another chainsaw, and then do another chainsaw. And unfortunately, if you keep doing that, you might get real popular, but you're going to be pigeonholed into something like that. You're going to get burned out and bored. I mean, maybe you won't, but I know I would. Let me catch up, and then I'll get out of here. We're going to go do a pee break, and we'll come back, and we're going to watch the MTD, and we're going to talk a bit more about that, and we're going to go to Brett and Kenny, and who else did I say? You guys got to remind me. Brett, Kenny, and what was the other one? You guys got to remind me of this stuff. Let's see. That's just I didn't know Shangri-La that they were in the red. Bleach says getting more views lately, but not sure why. I must be a good draw. That's good. Maybe it's because you're actually back and you're doing some stuff, trying stuff on these machines, making an effort, right? That's all, a lot of times that's all it really requires. And engines, people like will it runs? Can you put this on here and make it run again? Like people like stuff like that. That's always a good, a thing to get back to. Musty One does not come up on my feed lately on YouTube. He's been busy. He's been working on, he was working on the engine swap for his skid steer. And I think that's basically done. Then he came up with this go-kart thing. Corvette bodied style go-kart or whatever. He's been working on that. And there was something else he did too. So I've been checking out that. And again, those videos are like an hour long. Sometimes they're in multi-parts. But he can break the rules. And one of you fellas just mentioned that. There are some people that they can break they're not just breaking the rules, they're writing new ones. The OGs were known for that, right? All you OGs out there, you're known for making new rules, not just breaking the ones, but making new ones that us new people coming to the party later, like, what happened here? What's going on? Like, that's how YouTube grows, and if you're a YouTuber and you want to keep going, that's how you grow or just keep going. There are some people that will hit big, like Musty Big and Bigger, right? I watch some of these people. I think they're very good at what they do. I don't necessarily watch a lot of small engine stuff because I live it. I'm in it every day, so I don't want to get burned out. That's bad. Remember I mentioned this like it was last week. Remember like couple of months ago, whatever it was? All these videos, I'm quitting YouTube. I think a lot of that was the hype too, like people riding that wave. But somebody must have started that, and a lot of YouTubers did quit. So it's not like it was just myth. Maybe some people got on the bandwagon. But sooner or later, listen, when I was really young, I went to some really good schools. And one of my teachers was like maybe social studies or something, whatever. And they were talking about the last buggy whip maker, and Big John, that guy Big John against the steam engine. And what happens, and we also learned a lot about the efficiency agents, the people that came in, and they were the bane of a human's existence working in factories, because they got you to the point where you couldn't move to the left if it wasn't your turn to move to the left. Like you had no autonomy. It was a nightmare. But what the takeaway is that depending upon where you are in the time cycle, when you come up, you can't control when you were born and the time that you were born in. And if it's anything to do with technology, biology, whatever it is, in the marketing world, in the marketable world of employment, in your area. Now, of course, it might be different if you say, you know what, there's no real work here, I'm getting out of here. Lots of people do that. But in your area, if you stay in your area, there is a time window for the things that are going on. If construction is your thing, and housing prices aren't right, and things are going on, and lumber's through the roof, and all this other stuff, you'll probably be out of a job for a while. If there's a manufacturing plant up the block and things aren't looking good, but the guy that that lives up the block, he just retired, and you've been there for a few years, like me at Grumman, you're out. That guy's pulling a retirement out of it. You're done. And in small towns, that's a big problem, because if suddenly 7,000 to 10,000 people or whatever it is get laid off, don't forget, like if a manufacturing plant stops a product or a product line, there's all of these other sub-assemblies and other contractors and subcontractors and floor cleaners and plumbers and all this other stuff that's associated to that, and tax base. Those people lose their jobs too. So depending upon where you are in that time cycle, you might be the buggy whip maker. And I've been that person, and many times. And I've had to go out and learn yet another trade or whatever, or reinvent yourself. And it's really hard. Most people can barely invent themselves the first time around. That's why a lot of people look for government jobs and stuff, because there's a sense of security. But like, I know people that have those jobs, they fucking hate them. They feel like they're in prison every day, Teachers, same thing. Like, they've lost their love long ago. And if you're an older teacher, you might wind up being shoved into management, up into the administration, and you'll hate that job. But what are you going to do? You're going to quit? So, let's see, Shangri-La says, I'll watch with my mother or by myself. I have a lot of echo equipment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a fine machine. And that's another reason why I decided to do it. And I like the people that I was working for, that's such a treat. It's such a delight to be able to connect with people that you like, and you're working and they're paying you and you're doing something that's kind of cool. I mean, that's awesome. Sometimes I have to pinch myself and kick myself. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing some of this stuff. Because I meet a lot of really cool people. Yes, I got hacked. Yes, I meet some shitheads. Yes, bad things happen to good people. Yes. But, you have to stay focused on the positive. Crap happens. It sucks. Idiots. Some guy said something the other day. Oh, it was one of my older videos. I had to pull off the rear wheels off of an old Craftsman tractor, and it was left out, and they get rotted on. I probably should have made a puller for this thing, but I did it the old-fashioned way, right? I torched it off. Torch and quench. I had to get the caps off, the plastic caps, and they wouldn't come off. I spent about 30 seconds. I'm like, I can't get them off. We got to heat it with the heat gun. I used the heat gun. I put the heat gun on it. I got it nice and hot. I tried to grab it with a rag, but I was like, you know what? I really should just get a glove. And as soon as I pinched it, and I could grab it enough through the rag, I pulled it right off. That was about a minute. Guy said something like, geez, if you can't get the cap off, you to give it up right there. I just wrote back, dick. You're a fucking dick. Right? To say crappy shit, I think some people are just miserable. Right? I didn't spend gobs of time. I said, this is what you do. You got to heat the damn thing up. Oh, speaking of devil, Joe's here. Yeah, we were just talking about it. You'll have to rewind. But, let's see. Oh, Elk Skins. Yeah, he's awesome. But he says, I'm on bipolar high, feeling better than being sick. Good. But he says, will it blow up my garage? I don't know. Try not to blow up your garage, bro. And he says, I kind of dance to the beat of my own drum. Blood Nose says, Elkskins keeps going. Bleach says, what are going to be the requirements to work on electrical mowers? Are they going to throw away product? Probably. Now, a lot of what's going to happen is the charging systems will go bad, the power regulators. So, some of that stuff is easy to deal with. I was actually just watching some stuff today, just brushing up a little bit. And I can't stand it. I went to school for it. I still can't stand it. I liked it when I was a kid. But I'm like, well, you probably should get back into it. So I reject it, and I get cranky, and I forget real fast. And I was thinking, you threw out a nice piece of equipment, not that long ago. You probably could have fixed that damn thing. If you just brush up on your skills and get get a few pieces of equipment that you need. You really need to do this. But I get overwhelmed. I'm doing all this other stuff. So I'm like, all right, it's on the back of my mind. I'm probably going to need to get in there and poke around and start learning again and, make some nice power supplies again and whatever else. And most of the electronics I kind of know. The programming part, you're going to have to find out about. Some of these things are EEPROM'd and flashed. So if something goes wrong inside of any digital controller, it's been PROM'd, and you're going to need copies of those programs. You may have to flash them. They may lock you out, like they did with the John Deere stuff. They may not want you to fix it. They might want you to buy, like, quote unquote, a whole head unit, which is plug and play, and it's not going to be cheap, at least not initially. So that's the kind of stuff. If somebody comes to you with a $500 lawnmower and says, can you fix this? What's the answer going to be, right? Because the customer's going to say, do I need to go out and buy yet another lawnmower for $500? I can't afford it. What can we do? Well, unfortunately, the answer to dead batteries, I don't think you'd want to go into a battery and mess around with the electronics that are in there. I wouldn't want to do that. There are people that will. But the answer to that is a few $100s in batteries. I think it was Pate put up something real quick, and Ken popped it up. One of the lawn tractors had, what did he say? 2 batteries, 4 batteries, $250 a pop, something like that. That's where they're going to get you, is when you get the initial buy, right? When you buy it initially, it'll be one price. But then if you go to look at fixing it, it'll be priced in a way that you'll say, F it, I'm going to go buy a new unit. And that's why I say a lot of people are not going to be able to fix these things, because they're going to do that for quite a long time to move product, to push you out, right? And to push out the old one. And sort of like what Henry was saying in the very beginning, to push out the old stuff, push you into the next one. So they do that now, really, even with gas-powered stuff. Let me come back, and then we're going to get out of here. Hold on. Learn how to use multimeter. Yeah, get good with crimping electric. Yeah, I'm already good with that. Absolutely, Lawnmower Lady. Hey, Lawnmower Lady. Absolutely. Learn basics electrical troubleshooting skills. Absolutely. And there's so many great YouTuber stuff. Actually, I was watching something this morning on Facebook Shorts, and they were just going over some basic circuits. And I was like, like the MOSFETs and everything. I'm like, I could have I had a really nice A to D to A power supply. and I threw it out. One reason I threw it out because I thought I was going to move, and I was dying, and my wife divorced me, and I had no money. And I'm like, I need to clean up. I was in a panic. I'm getting ready to move. I was loading tools into rollaways. I'm like, how am I going to ship all this stuff? My brother comes up here, and I'm like, David, you realize we need cargo container trucks for this. You might want me to move all of this. So I'm like, I'm not fixing any of this stuff right now. But even if I leave, I'm in a different situation. I'm a little bit healthier. I have a little bit, something going on. And I'm thinking, maybe you should just make a project or two here and there. Maybe when I go over this other power supply, if I feel like it, I might make a computer controlled variation of it. Right, where I could interface with something. A lot of the stuff, Arduino, etc., you can tie into some basic circuitry and have your laptop control it, or your cell phone with an app, or my daughter was playing with. She got one of those camera things that, what are they called, doorbell cameras or whatever. She was fooling around with that. She gets a kick out of that. You could make stuff like that. And when you're at that point fixing a lawnmower, but the problem is this: if the batteries are too expensive, it's going to push the person into buying another machine, even if they can't afford it. And so you, as the repair person, is going to be stuck in that loop if that's what happens. So, and it does happen. It happens now, even with the gas stuff. Not all of the gas stuff, but it happens now. We won't know. We're going to find out. All right. Let me go real quick. We're going to just go hit, see, Tar Heels, how'd you find out you've been hacked? Oh, I'll get into that. Well, it was obvious because I was like, oh my God, nothing's working. It's getting weird. Josie says, I've already saw a couple of electric mowers for free. You take those. And that's what I was thinking. And that's why I mentioned something to Brett about his cousin's, the one that she wanted to get rid of. I'm like, you might want to take that. For fooling around or something. I don't know. Put different batteries in it. I don't care. Put a lead acid battery in it. Cut out all that plastic that's in the way with a cheap saw and a hot knife and drop a lead acid in there, a used one, and wire it up with a switch. And I don't know. Seriously. That's what I did with the I'll go get it in a minute, but, Arch's Arduino programming channel. Yeah, why not, bro? I used to be big with all the computers. Well, you can see what's in. I don't have the other camera hooked up, but, Bleach says, I have a Black & Decker corded push mower. Mia in the garage, not sure where it is. Yeah, my buddy TJ. Hey, TJ, he offered me one. Was it today? Yesterday? See, I lose track of time. I said I didn't want it. But... maybe I'll take it. Because I don't know. If I have the time, I could make something out of that. How the hell do I know what the hell I'm going to do? That motor's pretty torquey. Yeah, I really should take it. Just because of projects, Sitar says, elevate Stella, the lawnmower lady. Bleaches, everybody saying hello. All right, we're going to hit a quick pee break and come back, and I want to just play that segment, and then we're going to go a little bit to Brett and fellas. Well, who else did I say? It was Brett, Ken, and there was another one that I was thinking about, and now I can't remember. All right, we'll be back in a second. Stand by. Let's see. Here we go. Can't keep doing that. Wipe the seat. Can you wipe the seat? She's got to learn to wipe the seat. There we go. The markets and people do strange things when big changes occur, and you can't foresee some of this stuff. I think YouTubers in general will respond to that. So, for example, if some of these older lawnmowers and older vintage equipment, you won't find as much of that stuff per se. However, that suddenly makes the interest, it might make the interest in them go up. And it may be that some people will have had a bad experience with an electric mower, or have seen others or know others that have had an experience that is unsavory, and they might say, you know what, there's somebody in the area that's selling on Marketplace a nice machine. It seems like they do them on a regular basis every year. I think I'm going to get one just in case. I'm going to keep it around. I still have my electric, but I've got this thing. I like it. I always liked those old Hondas. I always liked those old green. I love the green ones, the old green Craftsman stuff that was out there. Eager One and what have you. I've got a couple of them outside that I'm not going to sell. I pulled aside a couple. I think one of them is even an electric start. And I think one of them is an electric start Tecumseh engine with the coil, the same coil that I put on my Honda HRX so I could charge the battery. And this one is just I know I have one that's a push. It's like a 22 that I like. And there's another one that's electric start. Is it 22? I forget. There's a couple back there. I pulled them aside for myself. I don't actually want to sell them. And I'm like, well, I'll put them on YouTube. And I'd actually like to keep these. Then I've got those older Toro, the nice old Toro. What the hell is that one? I forget the model number on it, but the aluminum deck or magnesium, whatever it is, with the big one's got the bigger motor on it, which is the OHV, big old Briggs. Some of that stuff, I really don't want to sell it. Now I'll sell off extras if I wind up with too many, of course, and depending upon how I put it together over time, and somebody will buy it. I can almost guarantee that. It won't be like a hot seller. I sell a lot of these cheap machines that I throw together and I pick up. And they're cheap, and I sell them for cheap. People that need a lawnmower. Okay? So I think that will be around for a while. But as I said just a few minutes ago, which is, we really don't know how people will respond completely when things really start to change. Like you look at the cars nowadays. I used to be into cars. I can't even think about a car anymore because a lot of the cars that I was into and liked, these things for a piece of shit, it's like $6,000 to $8,000 and it needs a full restoration. My friend, he picked up, he's almost done, but he's got now like a show winning 50, almost 60 Thunderbird, T-Bird. I forget exactly what year it is. These things, those are still a little cheaper, considerably than, let's say, like a Mustang. We were looking at one, he was telling me the other day, guy wanted like $20,000, $30,000. It was an older restoration. He says it's a mess and it's apart. What the hell do you want that for? And then you're going to spend another $20,000 on it. Like who's even buying this stuff? The money it's involved in is insane. Who's buying this stuff? It's not regular people. I was watching a show a while back. A younger fellow was going over a lot of this nice old Chrysler stuff and Dodge. And, he's got the General and a few other things. He does a lot of it out of his backyard. He's got the Quonset tents. I think he has one small garage, and he's in an area where the cars don't rot so bad. He's like, but at this point now, he's like, I don't think I can continue to do this YouTube channel anymore. Things are just too expensive. The cars are ridiculous. The parts are ridiculous. California, a lot of the companies that were making these cool parts in California, they're having to find other places because California is throwing them out, suing them, won't let them operate. He's like, it's getting so crazy. He's like, I really can't afford. You can't just go and do this willy-nilly anymore. Or just pick up a car and start fooling around with it. Now, that said, I watch another fellow. He's around our age, and he's in New Mexico. I forget what it is, something junk garage or anyway. Point being is he finds oddball crap that is junk, and he plays around with it and makes weird stuff out of it. So the criteria is completely changed for him. He's not going to do anything that's got any kind of like vintage, badging or anything on it, because you can't touch it. All right, let's get to the next segment. Let me get set up. I think I put a shortcut on my desktop. I'll put it on this monitor over here. Let me see. P-Lady on Lasix. Picking butt, crusty in the beginning. Could be a dude in drag. I don't think she's a lady, Shangri-La says. Yeah, she doesn't have underwear. No, she doesn't have any underwear on. Stella! The police says, I think that good lawnmower lady, or put lead acid battery, like Arch said. Is he kidding? No, I'm not kidding. I put a lead acid battery in it. What's the difference? Have some fun. Toro Super Recycle uses aluminum deck even to this day, but now they aren't red. They are black. Yeah, they actually look pretty cool. Tar Heels Ariel says, you're talking about Vice Grip Garage? No, not Vice Grip. I forget the guy's name. I like Vice Grip, but he's around my age, got a full head of hair. I don't know if he has dentures or different teeth, but he talks with a lisp. His lower teeth get in the way. And he's a nice guy. He drones a little bit. I can't think of his name. I'll think of it next time. But he's definitely in New Mexico. And he makes the craziest stuff work. He just got a Jeep, like a old Jeep Grand Cherokee for $2. It's an absolute piece of junk, but he got it running in a half an hour show and drove it around his sandy lot. And he'll use it for something. He's got some property, and out there four-wheel drives rule. All right, let me set this up. Hold on, I got to open it up. I got to make it stop. Let's see. I'm not ready. Arch, why can't you get ready? Because I'm not ready. Hold on. I want to eat some of my, I got my canola. I just want to take a little bit, because, let's see, I need desktop audio too. So I have to shut my mic off from time to time. I don't want it to echo too much. And look at the lineup, fellas. What do you think? Right, let's take a look at what we got. Here we go! All right, fellas, early spring roster. All right, because I've been busy doing, everybody else's machines. I still have some more service to do. But before I get involved in my next service project, I wanted to take the weekend and maybe Monday to sort out some more things. So the late winter or early spring, I did a cleanup. I probably showed some of that on a live, and I got a lot cleaned up back there and organized, and I pulled these out just now. So these are still Mikey's, I think. There might be one in there that's mine, but who cares? We'll just give it to him. And, like a consignment deal, we don't really know what's going on with these. That's the deal. I can tell you this one I thought was good, and the motor's locked up, and water was in it, and then by the time you wash it, you can see she's pretty nasty. That body would need to be painted. It's just too far gone. The motor is shot, but everything else is good. Like the plastics are nice. It's a Troy built. I have a bag for it. The cable works good, and the plastics are still in good shape, and just the motor is dead. So I'm thinking, all right, well, let's just put that to the side. That's parts. I drug this one out. We could see. Yeah, they can't be left out. Shot. This is what you're going to be getting. Like, you're not going to be able to fix these, really. Like, what, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these things, and I'd be lucky if I get one out of these without going crazy. It's not like the old Craftsman's. So this body is shot. Precision Plus. This is a Craftsman Gold. This is what they call gold. Yeah, fool's gold. Turd gold. So, but it's got a Briggs flathead on it, so let's not yell at it. And yeah, true. The back wheel is a little bent. Something ain't right back there. Just whatever. Okay, so probably parts. Right. Well, no, I'm going to clean them off, and I'm going to start poking at them. Yeah, see, look. Ooh. Yeah, see, by the time you get, and you can tell, this is not shiny paint. It's not like that. That one we might be able to save and put a different motor on it. This is probably parts. This is another yard machiney.
It's got the pimples, but this one may not be too far gone. A little bit of love here in that area, and the motor is questionable, but we don't know. It's the little motor on it. This is beat over here, but I probably have another one, or it'll come from that. Not sure yet. I probably have another one though, and it'll probably come from this one because this body is garbage. This one's a little bit better. We might luck out. This one is a little bit better than all of them to a large degree. Look, and by the way, it's high wheel.
That's good.
Which is nice. This is a little faded, but we can make that go away. And it's got a the Briggs flathead on it, so we can't yell at it either. So I think this is the one that we're probably, after we kind of go through these, we're going to.
These are like 10 years old,
and
they're like the first ones of its kind.
For the other one on the far left, that's already cleaned and in the garage. That bag is pretty clean, so that bag can be associated to this. So I think this is the one. We'll get at least one. Like I said, out of what we got, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of 4, more likely one will be, and the others are super questionable, probably parts. And this Honda, I just kind of checked it over. That wheel's a little bit bent. We could fix it. Looks like that one too, right? Pigeon-toed. The back tires are a little bit clamped, questionable. I did check this. This seems to work, but there's a lot of goop up back there, and all up and underneath and behind. We'll get a look at that. It comes with bag. Bag is pretty nice. Motor's all gacked up, and there's junk in the tank.
That's a whole nother story.
It comes out pretty good. I actually had somebody that called
it's a
me
mess.
Looking for something and looking for like this, but they may have to wait because we might. Like these are the two that we're going to focus on, but I might want to go in there and go maybe tonight go price some wheels. I like the Pro Rate. I may even have some better front wheels, but certainly the traction wheels in the back I think would be good. If this thing runs really nice, and it looks like the paint is pretty nice. Like if it runs really nice with the bag and a new set of wheels and some good blades on it, I might have a set.
That one had the wrong carburetor on it.
But I also need to set aside a pair of blades for my Honda. Well, this one might get $180, $200 if we make it nice. So, like, this is a nice machine. All right, let me get to work. I'll bring it back. All right, here's the second one that I thought might be worthy. And it's got like a new blade on it. That's nice. Score. A bit beat in here, but pressure washer will handle that. This has got the OHV, and that doesn't look terrible. There was a little bit of fuel in the tank, but it was just dirt and dark amber. The body isn't great, but okay. All right, that's the one with the broken handle, but we should have another one. All right, let me go get it out on the clean line. Ah, but look.
Yep.
This motor might be borked. Yeah, see, that's broken. That's why we have like a newer blade on.
Yep.
Right, so that motor, this might have a bent crankshaft. We'll have to knock that off and see. So it might just be a parts motor. But like this becomes parts machines for me, which is cheap. Well, no air filter, so that's bad.
Yep.
There was shit in the fuel, of course. Tank sucker says water and gack. Not a lot, but some water. So there's probably some water in there. I took that spring off. That's bad. There's some junk in here. Typical. There's some oil still left in it. Not a lot, but it's not empty. That is bad. I don't like it when I see that. That could be questionable, but it is a nice flathead. They can survive a lot. Why do people do that? Look at how bad that is. I know you can't see it, fellas. Maybe we'll get a better look. It's because now the sun is over in front of me. I don't know whether I need a frontal lobotomy or a bottle in front of me.
That's nice.
Well, here's a nice surprise. It's really the wrong blade. It's a universal blade, but I don't know why you would put a universal blade on this, since these blades, these star-style blades, are so common, and they're the correct ones. And that's too short. That looks like a 20-inch blade.
Yep.
So that's not even the right blade anyway, completely. Anyway, this is all wobbly. Everything here is beat.
Yep.
All beat. The other one, I think it's this one, but it's such a wobbly piece of crap. I think what we'll do is, this is our handle for the beat one. So we're going to do that right away. Why don't we pull because this is to beat. This motor might even be beat. Hold on, coming around. So that top is ready to come off. I just leave them on there until I'm done. This is the one that most likely it's got a lot of pimples everywhere. That paint's just going to come flying off. And this isn't great, but that one's wobbly. Yeah, let's pull the motor off. Pull the blade off. I'll pull the motor off. I'll pull off the cable if it's any good. And we'll pull the handle off and all that. And the rest will be just garbage. Your friendly neighborhood residents. So that's kind of pork. Just prop this up. The cable's no good. And some monkey put this in backwards. So, it should go into the slot. But no, we can't be bothered doing that. We'll just jimmy it and so that it's cocked. Right? And then this is the one with, hey? Yeah, it's a little short, huh? So, but other than that, the motor might be okay. We'll put it on the clean line now. I'll pop it off. If it comes off, it might come off and the bolt will break. All it takes is one bolt and I'm done with this. So, give me you. Let's tip it over and dump the motor. All right, it's crusted. It actually came off, but thermostat here is jammed, and it was all jammed up into here, and so that's beat.
I've seen some crazy shit with that.
A lot of them look like this. We'll do a compression test and everything, and a spark test. This is how a lot of them they get. It looks like it's the bigger crank with no pulley on it. That's not bad. Okay, put it on the clean line. Throw out the carcass. I'll just take that back. Like I said, the cable's no good, but I'll take that handle, and it already lost one of the T-rod pieces because the nuts fall out and people never tighten those things right. I almost always find these things assembled wrong.
Yep.
It's constant. All right, let me keep going. I gotta go find a place to put stuff now. It's just one of those days with constant interruptions. So this one's actually not terrible. If we pop this off and pop that off, but now that the motor's off of it, I can do a quick cleaning and just a quick paint and get it up nice. And I think this one, I'm just going to pop the ignition coil off. This is all frozen.
It's
actually,
locked.
that was not terrible, but I'll probably just take the ignition coil.
The motor's locked.
Good. We'll test it. And then it's garbage. And that's it for today. And then this one, tomorrow morning, we'll poke through this one. And I'm going to look to see what the tires are going to cost for the rear. I'm going to want to get a set of those, I think.
The next day.
Okay, of the cheap Murrays, I think this is the better body. No scaling, no spalling. Here's your customary crack.
Whoa!
It's missing this thing's got a chewed up. It's missing some material there. Let's take a look over here. So this has the bigger motor on it, the flathead.
That one looks like it's okay.
Touch up on the paint, almost nothing. So this is the one we want to stay with. The motor looks like it's okay. I'll finish cleaning it up for another day, but she looks real good. I don't see anything wrong here. Yeah. Real clean. I think the wheels were wobbly, but let's go take a walk and we'll see the other one. Bag's clean. Making room in here. And I still got to go through all of this stuff. I'm going to put our snow blowers away and stuff. But the bags are clean, also for the Honda. And so I got 2 black bags for these MTD Murray. MTD,
That's a score.
Murray wannabes. What Ken says, MTD, where quality is just a noun. But before we take a look at the underside, so this is the one that was kind of beat up. And so this is the OHV, little OHV, but it seems to be okay. At least we can tell for now. The body is beat, and that other body was much nicer, the Craftsman body. This is the one with the crazy handle. Oh, look, but they used stainless, fellas. At least they used a piece of stainless. So, God knows, how do you do that, right? Car accident. What do you see what's underneath here, though? This is all spalled.
Yeah.
Look, the pipe is sticking through it. It means you'll never get that out.
Nope.
You'll never get that out, okay? It's like locked in there now. It's
It's
peened
done.
over. Anyway, it said the bed died, the camera died. It said the battery was exhausted. Yeah, like me too. I'm exhausted too. Go figure. Yeah, she's all spoiled. All kind of crap came off of that. You're never going to get that piece off. Like I was saying, this is broken. That motor might not even be any good. So
I'll try a blade, put a blade adapter on it and spin it and see if it's okay.
What you could do, I could set up my dial indicator on it.
Before the dial indicator.
The end off, because it'll probably fall right off. Take the plug out and then pull the bail back and just spin it. My thinking is this is probably garbage. So this is most likely just another parts machine. These tires are a little bit better. We'll grab those for the other one.
Yeah.
But we'll check it because it might be an okay motor. But, when that happens and somebody put a blade on it, so, sometimes you can see it. We'll bring it up on the table. Most likely this is, to me, it's garbage. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at this. Getting ready to close up. So I
this
got
is getting
as
nicer.
much in here as I could without damaging.
I'll show you the finished.
I turn the pressure down and come back. I couldn't get this bolt off. I really wanted to because I wanted to pull this shield off, but I got it pretty clean. She looks okay in here. Like she's older.
Yeah.
But we
it's a nice machine.
The belt and everything. It's just I don't like it when I get like this, but this seems to be working. These are the nice older trainee. All right. Let me get out of here. Let me close up. Oh, one more thing. Before I put the pressure washer away, I just wanted to grab a couple of things. I just want to blow off that because a lot of times, like for my trimmer, a lot of this stuff is very similar. But those coils, nice to have, and maybe one more carburetor. I don't know if it's the same. I haven't had a chance to look, but if I blow some goodness over it real quick, I might leave it around and might take it apart, and we'll see. But while the pressure washer, this thing is disgusting. It had stink bugs in it. And it stunk.
Nice. Oh. Crazy, huh? Because the MTDs are crap. I mean, I restore and refurbish so many of these older machines with the cheaper bodies, and they're still around 20 years later. This stuff is just, it can't, first of all, it's too weak to handle any abuse. And then the age, and also where I live. Maybe where you guys live, it might be different, right? It's raining again. It wasn't even supposed to rain, and like I said, the girls are all pissed off because there was no rain in the forecast, but it rains anyway. Let me catch up to you guys. And I wanted to show you I completed the snapper. We'll take a quick look at the Echo, and then we're going to go over to Brett and a quick look at Ken, and there was something else which I'll remember, or I won't remember. Let me catch up. Let's see. It could be dude and drag. Yep, could be. lady picking butt. Chrissy being on Lasix again. Oh, that good lawnmower lady. Or put lead acid. Yes, the lead acid. Toro Super Recycler. Tar Heels. Are you talking about Vice Grip Garage? I love that guy. I like the S10 Chevys. Yeah, I had a bunch of them, and I'm sorry I got rid of them. Ford Rangers, miss seeing old trucks I grew up with on the road, vintage 70s, 80s, and 90s. Yeah, and that was the other thing, too. The Chevy Citation. Remember, I think it was Obama did the Cash for Clunkers, which destroyed so much good inventory. And we might see something similar in a different level. It could be with small equipment, or it just happens naturally at this point. That's where I get a lot of my stuff from, the dump. Bleach says, yeah, I've seen Vice Grip Garage before. Awesome. Shangri-La-di-da. Taro fixes all. Bleach says, I dislike the plastic front push mowers. Yeah, and the plastic front harbors all that water and dirt and gook, and it rots the front of the deck, as you guys saw in that clip. That's quite common, actually. They just rot right the heck out. I had one, I get freeware, front plastic and wheels rotted off. I called the foot choppers. Yeah. 2000, I still might have the engine. Another thing too is there's an axle that runs through the plastic, and for some reason or another, I've noticed the front wheels, I think because they just don't move as much, but they literally will rot to that plastic. to the shaft rather, and you're not getting them apart. I'll keep a couple around. I keep the entire axle shaft. You just have to pry it out of those plastic fingers, and I just keep it laying around. And I've come across quite a number of them. You can't get the wheel off in the front. The rest of the mower might be okay, so I keep a few, and I don't even unbolt the entire plastic. I just pop out that shaft, wheels and all, put it in, snap it back into place, and then I take the wheels off, and I always do this. I grease the wheels. You can't put grease, Arch. That's the problem. I hear that constantly. Yeah, don't put, yeah, fellas, new development. Don't put any kind of oil or no-sees on your blade bolts because you might exceed the torque value. Let's see. Bleach says, my weed whacker broken on the head, so I'm putting in a China carb and a new gas lines on a Featherlight weed whacker. Those could be nice, you know. As long as the motor's good. Bravo says, my daughter's MMA fighter just got rocked. Bummer, man. Hope you can put money on it. Oh, well. Not watching the rest of the live stream. Nobody else I'm interested in seeing. Nice. He goes, not watching the rest of the live, whatever it is. Spark chest. Yeah, you caught that. He said, get it up. Yeah, I didn't go on that one. Krista says, speaking of compression, I did a leak down test on my HRC 216 for fun, and it had 0% leak down at 95 PSI. Yeah, it didn't. When you get a good one, and this is my contention, and that last video I just did on the pressure washer, I'm like, take care of your stuff, guys. Take care of your shit. If you have something that's decent, try to hold on to it. Regardless of what's going on in the battery world or in general, there's a lot of really good equipment out there. And I think that, you know, even for YouTubers, focusing more even on those, and even if some of the other how-to stuff may pass on and forward, which I think is going to happen, you'll have those videos out there for what they are. But moving forward, you find if you're a YouTuber and you're doing something like what we're doing here, what we're interested in, you know, focus on maybe some of the older vintage stuff, which I like to do. I haven't even released all those videos yet. And now I'm coming into some commercial stuff, and maybe I'll get a chance to talk about that, but I'm seeing some crazy stuff. But some of those machines are pretty damn durable. Of course, the Turf Master, the Time Master, and, you know, machines like that are not necessarily, well, the Turf Master is more vintage. That one is a little bit older. It's not vintage, but that's some machine, boy. I'll tell you, it's made really well. The Time Master's not as much. Let's see. Johnny Rose says, yeah, a question. Do you use fluid film on the underside of a mower deck? I never use it, but some say. There's a lot of discussion on that. I think anything that you do to the underside of your mower deck is going to be beneficial. Some people spray oil on it, use motor oil. You can wash the deck down in a spray bottle, put some used motor oil, touching gas or something in there to make it flow a little bit better. Psh, 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 you know, fluid film, rusty metal primer. You want something, chain wax. You want something that's gonna, they have all, by the way, they have all these self-healing products that we use in auto body, which are really good. It's a kind of a waxy substance that actually somewhat self-heals. Some of that stuff dries. The thing with the oil is that it will collect dirt, but that might still protect it. There's a lot of potential options that you have. And what I like just say is wash your machine and dry it on a nice day. Sometimes just keeping that you know, glommed on filth and dirt and grass, which holds the moisture there. And another thing I tell people too, like, you know, some of the customers, I'm like, where are you storing it? Well, it's in a shed. Okay. Do you have rock floor, concrete floor? What do you have? Well, some people have rock, some people have dirt. And I'm like, no, don't do that. You know, put it up on some bricks or boards, let the air get underneath it. You know, clean the underside and then let it dry, because nobody listens. Right, and then put it up on some bricks or block, let the air get underneath it, regardless of what you have. If it's outside, do that. Put it away like that. You'd be surprised. It'll rust, but rust itself is not your problem. You saw the spalling, right? That spalling is bad. Those lightweight decks can't handle that. And then the cracks in the corners. Now, the cracks, if you see yours cracking, you could weld it. You could drill the end and weld it up before it gets really bad, and it will probably be better than the original. And then you won't have a problem. So there's a lot of things we can do to keep these things around a lot longer. And as soon as I get done with this, I want to show you the Echo and also the Honda real quick. So these things can come back. Bleach says, soon I may sell my Honda push mower with holes in the deck. Yeah, I got it running. For some reason, it will only run when you put carburetor clean in the carburetor to start it, and then it will stay running. Probably because you don't have the choke set right. Tara says, have you ever watched Steve Lavanmier? Some of his, no, I don't know who he is. I'll have to check that guy out. His cool famous saying is, she's a leaker. She's a leaker. That's good enough for this neighborhood. Give it the old, how you doing? It's doing the funky chick. It's funny because I'm not saying it right. Blood Nose says, that POS was ridden hard and put away wet. Yeah, totally. They can't handle it. Bravo says, my daily driver, 98 S10. I had one of those. I loved it. I parted it out. I shouldn't have done that. Some agrees. Joey Z's is Johnny Bravo. Mine is a 2000 Blazer. No payments and plenty of material for videos. Yes, absolutely. And like I said, even if it's a little bit different than what you would normally do, it's the overtime, your YouTube channel, somebody's going to have to, you said it in one of your videos. If you can't find something on my channel that you're interested in, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, because you do all kinds of different stuff. And yeah, but it'll hurt your channel a little bit, but what do you mean hurt it? Like when I say that, yeah, if you're looking for these numbers and really get going up there and all that, yeah, it will hurt it because people don't know what to do. But if you're looking at the long run, like the long game, it's not hurting you. It's giving you a break from doing whatever the hell it is. You know, that you, so if you're somebody that has to do that one thing, like I specialize in this, and you might do really well, and people know to come to you for this. Like the guy that does snappers, what's his name? He pretty much only does snappers, and he's like done. He's like said this a while ago. Because that's sick of it. You know, how many years can you do that? Charlie says hi, by the way. Nice. Hey, Charlie. Yeah, Paula's in the house doing his thing. Let me open up this other little app here. My Sony Play Memories, and I want to show you guys on the right monitor. I'll take a quick look at the Honda, move some things around, because I want to show you now the Honda. Totally different story. Let me find it. Honda, yeah. So I wanted to do a blade change on this thing. Okay, that's mine. Hold on. And is the Echo. And where's my HRR? I'm not done with it. Yeah, here it is. So, turns out, I'll open up the pics and we'll lay through it. Have a walkthrough on this? I'll let this roll. Hold on. Here we go. Let's see. I think I was trying to start it.
All ready. I got a little bit of gas in it. I checked the oil. It's gross, but it's full. I put a little bit of my tranny sauce mix into the combustion chamber and turned it over with the drill. And blew that through. That'll loosen things up a little bit. It'll smoke a little.
She's running better. Nice. Running good now. I bent the wheels.
All right, she's running a little rough.
Hear it?
Too lean.
Too
We
lean.
need to adjust the carb. Oh, it's windy out, fellas. Sorry. Storms are coming. Storms are coming. Now, remember, when you put your carburetor on and off, right, you can get frazzled.
See, now you can see
Check
what's going on here.
That it's not jamming up, and check to make sure the throttle's going. Everybody's working good. And what's nice is get used to seeing it. In fact, you can take your camera and get a little video of this so you can understand its operation. With that cover on, you're not going to see anything. That's what I was saying
let's
earlier.
move forward.
You're not going to see anything. All right, it's actually...
So let me see. Do I have one that's done, or did I not put that footage away? Right, so this is, yeah, did I not put that footage away? Hold on, let me go see. I'll go down the list here. Here's a different machine I want to show you real quick. Yeah, here we go. Now, this is it cleaned up. Yeah, I didn't put it in the folder. It's still laying in my bulk folder.
Just with them, but it's kind of, yeah, for lack of a better word, I could say.
Yeah, that's pretty. Everything's going good. Yeah, they're good machines. These are definitely worth saving, and it's not this is an older machine. Got the blades on. Everything's lubed. It's working nice. You know, it needs tires, like I was saying. Needs those rear wheels. The gears are fine. It got used. And it wasn't abused, but the mistake with this machine was the last owner tried to replace the carburetor, and he bought the wrong one. And there was no connection to the choke. It fit on the machine, but it wasn't the right carburetor. So I went through my stuff, and I found a carburetor. And originally I was going to do a video, I think I mentioned this last week, I was just going to do a video on the correct gasket stack for a Honda carburetor of this ilk, right, of this design. It's not the latest engine variation, but it's like the second to the latest or third to the latest. Very close. It's an automatic choke. And I figured I'll just do a gasket stack. Nope. Like I said, I go into a machine thinking one thing. It's not going to happen. It's going to tell me. So I went through some different carburetors, and I found two from my inventory, and I picked one, and I put it on there, and it needed to be drilled. And then, as I mentioned last week, I said at one point, I said, before we finish drilling it, you could see the machine is used, well used. It's older. Let's go take a look at the valves. I bet they've never been done, and they needed to be done. So I went through that. I went back to the engine. It ran a little bit better, but it still needed to be drilled one more time. So I did it one more time. That's going to be the video. And I didn't show like the fixing up of the rest of it, really. I just stayed on those two elements primarily. And the person threw the machine out because they tried that effort and they didn't know what they were doing. And not only did they choose the wrong carburetor, but they put it on incorrectly. They didn't put the gaskets in the correct order. So there's no way it would have ran. And I don't know how they would have started because there'd be no choke. And on this particular design, with the design of the carburetor that he put on there, if he put the gaskets on correctly, the motor would have most likely ran, but it had no choke. The choke was naturally open, normally open. On the correct carburetor for this engine, if you don't... Well, I don't know how you wouldn't be able to connect the choke, but it's normally closed. So he gave up. Let me show you that Echo. But it's a nice machine, and these are the kind of things that hopefully this guy comes tomorrow because I'd like to sell it and get a decent buck for it. Let's see, where are we? Oh, yeah. Here's the backpack. I think I showed you guys a little segment of it. Hold on. We'll get to that. And then I want to go cruise over to Brett's. And we're almost at the 3-hour mark, so we got a little bit more to do. And but this thing ran so nice. And let's see, where is it? I don't know. I might have gotten rid of some of the files because I'm basically done with the video. So, is this it? This might be it. This is fun.
Oh boy, what have I done?
Yup. It's all got to come apart. Now, we'll cruise down to here. Now, I actually got it running really good. I'll just play a quick segment of that. That's its idle. I don't think I'm done yet.
About 3,500.
Yeah, that's close. That's close to spec. 32 to a little bit higher is where they say. You can go lower, but... I did tune it some more.
Almost 65.
Yeah, but I got more out of it. Here we go.
It'll stop down a little bit.
Yeah, she's running good. Now let's take a quick look at... Did I get... I don't know if I got nice pics of it. This might be a nice pic of it. Is it this one? Yeah, here we go. She's clean. It runs great. She starts right up. I just got to tie off those fuel lines a little bit with some tie wraps, and I did that, but it's beautiful. Let's see, let me come back. Okay, hold on. Let me minimize that. I got to catch up. Let's see here. My weed whacker broken head. My daughter's MMI. Wobbly ass push mowers need much love to get going. Yeah, sometimes too much. Yeah, spark chest. Get it up. As per compression. Yeah, that was good. Fluid film. Holes in the deck. Tar Heel says, have you ever watched Steve? Nope, I don't know. Be a piece of shit. My daily driver is 98. Then some agrees. The Blazer. Charlie says hi. That's where we were. What would you say my YouTube channel style is, Arch? I don't know. I got to think about that. I haven't really thought of it. Well, you're kind of eclectic, but not really. I mean, you got the blowers and stuff on there, and there's a few other things, but it's a garage channel. So it's stuff in the garage. It's more small engine oriented, for sure. You did the Vivor. Was it the Vivor Vibro tank? It's hard to say. You're definitely in that genre, small engine somewhere in there, shop related. You're in that genre. It's not a how-to though. Okay, if you think of like mastering how-to, think of like the masters, like Donnie Boy is master of some of the how-to. Some of the stuff that Wayne's son does is very how-to oriented. There's a lot of people that do that. Then you kind of get into like Ken is like a lot of it is tips and tricks. He does a lot of, hey fellas, check this out. This is something you might want to think about, or when you're doing this, that's kind of how-to, but it's more of the tips and tricks of the how-to. Lawnmower Lady, it does a lot of the, let's get down here and let me show you this, right? How to do this. And she gets in there and gets you in tight and shows you the basics. Really great for especially small engine people that want in that realm. But she's also got other videos. Bruce is, a lot of it is how-to, but a lot of it is just Bruce working on small engines. I think a lot of people watch Bruce. They don't really care what the hell he's working on. But he's zoned in on certain things because of his garage, the way his garage is set up, the way he keeps his stuff. Remember, he goes away every year, so he's got to be able to run the chains through everything He wants it neat and tidy. He doesn't want to, he's getting older. He doesn't want to do tractors and the big snow machines and all that other stuff because there's nowhere to keep it, which is true for a lot of people. So there's that. So it depends. Like there's subgenres, and then there's this sort of let me show you this stuff, and it's not necessarily, it's like showcase more. I think you're maybe more showcase. Not necessarily I'm going to take it all apart and we're going to get down and dirty. I get overboard. I get too involved. My stuff, I drone on and on. So I'm big mouth. So it's gonna lend itself that way. I can't figure out how to do a 15-minute video. I do some, but that's painful for me. I'm not particularly good at it. Darwin is not saying anything. He's asleep in my lap. Nice. Bleach says, we had a Chevette. Loved that car, but I remember those. I remember seeing one. My neighbor had one. It would smoke like a bastard. But the driver said floor rotted out, fell out during a snowstorm. My mom driving it back in the 90s. Chevy Citations. Yeah, cool cars. Bro says, I've done a few vids on my S10 fuel pump replacement, blower motor replacement, the easy way. Yeah, cut big holes. Mine's a long bed, not a blazer. I had the shorter bed with the S10 with the extended cab, which wasn't much of an extension, but Bleach says, oh, that Honda is nice, Arch. That one you fixed. Yeah, and hopefully it sells tomorrow. Bravo says, OH and the O2 sensors that were counterfeit. Ooh. Yeah, that one probably got some views. Bloodnose says, Tarrell has a fantastic cameraman showing. Yeah, and see, he has a camera person, which is totally different. Krista says, are those Oregon blades you put on that HRR? I don't know if they're Oregon, but they're Honda blades. Generally speaking, everything I have here for Honda is Honda. So they have the Honda stamp. And I'm doing a video for my HRX, and I don't know if it's any good, but I'm trying to show that there are two different blade styles that were made for the Hondas. The HRX stock style with this really cool looking wing, and then there's an HRR. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I figured, well, I'll make a video. They're interchangeable. And they are different. They actually have different characteristics. And from playing around with these things for so long, I talk a bit about that, the different characteristics. And one of the other things I like to do, which is grind up hedges and junk. And with my nice lawnmower, I grind up all this stuff, but it beats up the blades. The blades that you saw are actually, I think, very heavy duty, and they do a very good job overall. But the blades that generally come on the HRXs, the one big wing, not the knife, that has a lot of lift. And I talk about that in the video. And it's a little thinner steel, it feels like. And they wear out quick. And if you try to chop stuff up, they won't last at all. So I talk a bit about that. I haven't tried anyone else's blades. I generally recommend the Honda blades, but they're making knockoffs, and I would think about putting some Oregon. I'm going to need some new blades soon. I'm starting to run out. I have a bunch, but I think a lot of the bunches that I have, I may want to save for used machines and buy something nice for myself. Tara says, Brett to see Tara Heels, gotta go, gotta run. I'll see you later, Tar. Bravo says, nighty night. Everybody saying goodbye. Later, mates. Bleach says, how's my channel, Arch? And Ren Brett says, I love Bruce's videos. No big bunch of glamour. It's down to earth. Yeah, very down to earth. Brett says, the HRX style blades move a lot of air. Yeah, they really do a good job. Yes, and that's what I was saying. Because when my pine tree was big and beautiful and majestic, it's not anymore. Storms and everything and age have just destroyed it, and I've had to have it hacked at. Those needles would drop, and for years I had problems with the needles, and I'd have to rake. And then many years ago, I bought the Honda HRX, and I'm like, well, let's just see. And I drove it over the lawn. I was like, what? 2.5 bushel bag packs it. I was like, what? And then if you go over it without the bag, it'll chop up whatever's left. I was like, I'm done. This is awesome. So I never looked back. So Bleach, your channel is weird, Bleach. You've been at it for a long time. So your channel is, you put it best. I think you said something like was it last week, that it was a reality kind of repair. It was like you with the machines and fooling around with them, more reality based, and you're learning a lot about this stuff. You're fooling around with it. Some of it's a little bit of a how-to. Some of it's just you trying to get this thing fixed or whatever it is, experimenting with it. It is very more reality show, loosely defined. Those are your words, and I like that. And then you go off in your weird smoking pot live shows. So those are in conflict with one another. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, unless, of course, you wanted to monetize it, and then I don't think you could do that because advertisers would not like that. They would frown on that, on you doing that. I don't think they would ever, not in any world, even though, see, the thing is it legal? Well, yeah, but maybe not, because YouTube is potentially, global, and I don't think that kind of stuff would fly in every market. So, the toughest, everything has guidelines. Like I keep running into trouble with Marketplace because of guidelines, and guidelines keep changing. Even when I do my live shows, sometimes I step on something and I have to remove it, or there's been a couple of times where they just blocked the video. They just were like, shut it down, Arch. You have a choice. You could leave it and get a strike. If you get strikes, you only get 3 and your channel's done. If you get warnings, or there's another name for it, that's different. But I wouldn't keep doing that, because what YouTube will do is downrank your channel. They'll put it in the basement. And they don't really say much. For a time, they were giving a hard time to people. Then they kind of backed off. And I think what they started to do is just say, you know what? We'll let it go, but you're not going to get any airplay. That kind of thing. And that's YouTube. That's like in their guidelines. Then there's the advertisers' guidelines. So if you really want to know what flies or not, you read, and I mentioned this not that long ago on one night here. I showed you where you go find those things. And the advertisers' guidelines, I think, are more stringent because they're paying. And let's face it, he who pays, plays. Okay, so that's their guidelines. So I think some of the stuff that you do, they would frown on that. But if you're not monetizing it and you haven't had any kind of, again, not strikes, but there's another word, then it wouldn't be a problem. But it's a departure. It's a considerable departure from like the stuff that you're doing when you pre-record and you're working on engines and whatever and snappers. It's a totally different thing. And like I said, it's not the kind of thing you can monetize. So it creates a serious contrast and a potential problem for you and an advertiser. And that's where the problem comes in. And that sets up a scenario that is what I would consider to be untenable. So I don't think I would do that. I would change the way you're doing it if it was me. But you don't have to, because as long as they're not shutting you down, and if you don't want to make any money from it and just want to have a good time, there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of channels that just do that. Sometimes they click the monetize button, sometimes they don't. It really depends. It really depends on what you're looking to do. If you want to focus more on machines and what goes on in Bleach's garage or whatever, do lives, but just change the way you do your live. Be a little bit more, low key about some of the stuff that you do. That would be my advice. Other than that, but then the thing is that you've been doing it for so long that if you click the monetize button and you start having problems, you'd have to go back through the years and delete videos. That's crazy, right? I mean, I've listened to people that talk about like making it on YouTube and where they're at, like, say now, they've said things like, and they've had many other channels and they weren't terrible, but they didn't work. And they're like, I got rid of it. I stopped it. I gave up on it. I watch Wes work, right? He sometimes talks about this. So he was involved in manufacturing and a bunch of other stuff. And he was saying how he tried to get into the machining space, working on CNC and operating machines and lathes and all of that. And he said it didn't do well at all. Maybe it's a combination of what he was doing, the way he was doing it. He's very geeky and very nerdy at times. He's very smart. But I don't know. I mean, I've never looked to see what those things were. I don't know. He occasionally shows some excerpts. I really don't know. But he said that he stopped doing it. It wasn't working. So sometimes you start off doing something, and a lot of YouTubers have said this, like, it just didn't work for one reason or another. So it's a genre. I don't know what genre. I think you put it best. I think that would work for you. And if you stayed on that, I haven't really looked back because you've been doing it for so long. I only went a little far back, and I'm like, okay, checking out what you were doing. There's a lot of videos there. And things have changed. See, that's the other thing too, is that you're talking about what's your channel now in today's world. You go back a year, you go back another year, you go back 3 years or 4 years. For all of us, what were we doing 4 years ago? I was talking to Bruce one day. It was like an after hours. I think it was at Ken's or whatever. And we were just chatting. And I mentioned something to him about a rider and a snowblower that he worked on. And I was like, yeah, I saw that. You did that a couple of years ago. And he goes, no, I didn't. I did that like 10 years ago, like almost when I first started. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's how long. I was like, oh my God, I've been watching you for like 10 years. I'm like, that was like 10 years ago? He's like, yeah, that was like 10 years ago. Like I saw it when you first came out with it. He goes, yeah, that was like a really long time ago. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I thought it was like maybe a couple of years ago. I didn't rewatch it or anything. Once in a while I do rewatch something, but I remember when he did it. And then I remember when he was working one day on his house. And I remember another time where he called it the Penderosa. And you know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, that was years ago too. And it's hard to say if you're doing it for years, Let's see. Bruce's videos. The HRX blades are a lot of air, really good for bagging. I have Gator style blades on my big Toro. Yeah, I like those blades. Bleach says there is other weed channels besides mine. Yeah, I'm sure there are, definitely. I've even seen a couple of them. YouTube has been therapy for me a bit. Yeah, well, for a lot of us, it is. Bravo says I refuse to go to the monetized route. My rebelliousness would keep me in trouble all the time, he says. Bleach says, yeah, I've been playing music in some of my garage videos. Yes, I noticed that, but you also play copyrighted music. So that's a problem anyway. Like, no matter what you do, if you monetized, if you already had the monetized switch, you would have known. They would have shut that down. So I don't think if you're able to do that, then you must not have thrown the switch. You're not supposed to do that. Like, if you play anybody else's music behind you on a video, that's problematic for YouTube because it's a copyright infringement. You're in the world of today, you're stealing. And they may not come after you today, to tomorrow, but they may eventually, and they may strike you for that. And if you get 3 strikes, your channel's over. So you want to be careful. I wouldn't do it. Monetized or not, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it because it really depends upon where their attitude is at any moment in time. It can change. I mean, just in the past couple of years, the world has changed, bro. What was okay to say, let's put it this way, Trudeau, right, in Canada, he's trying to pass a law that basically makes it so that anything that within their guidelines that is said on a news program or a YouTube channel that the government doesn't like, they will shut your channel down and fine you and potentially arrest you. And they will give you this like 1 month or whatever window. I didn't play that clip from the news program I was watching, but they'll give you a window to go back and get rid of all your old content. And this is true for journalists, right? So journalists that have been putting out material and just saying, hey, I don't like this about the government, or I don't like this about COVID, or I don't like this about this legal action, or I don't like this about the politicians here. Oh, they'd have to go back and get rid of all of that. And what it does is it creates an environment of fear so that people that are going to speak now or in the future are saying to themselves, I don't know if I can even say this or that, or it's really screwing with people. And by the way, this also is going on in the UK. People get arrested and they face heavy fines. It happens on a regular basis. So you may not be aware of all of this, Bleach, but this is going on. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to happen or that their government will pass this, but governments are passing these things. It can come here to the United States. There are a number of laws that have been passed. You know, they're in these bills, these huge bills that have hundreds and hundreds to thousands of pages. Some of that stuff I would avoid. Rebellious nature or not, whatever it is, I think I would. Even some of the stuff I say is dangerous. All right. I walk a very fine line, and just saying what I said right now, I could wind up with a flag or a tag, following guidelines in the United Nations, following COVID guidelines. You start to get tagged. They're looking to tag people. They're separating people into columns, and they're tracking everything we do. They record everything we do. They're separating us into columns. And in some cases, like in this country, the left is going after the right legally. I mean, that's the reality. Okay. You may not like it, but that's what's happening. And to whatever degree, I mean, in Canada, when people were sending money for the truckers from this country, they froze their bank accounts. Froze them. Means they couldn't pay their mortgage. All they did was send a $20 donation, thinking, I want to help out the truckers. They may not even known what was really going on. But they said, I'm going to send a donation in. Their accounts got frozen. You wind up having the FBI knocking on your door. So it's something to consider. You're out in a public realm. You don't own YouTube. You don't even really own your channel either. It's not really yours. It's considered to be in a public domain. You own, quote, rights. Rights can be taken away. Rights are not from God. They're from YouTube. They're from the governing bodies. And what you're saying and doing is being shown, again, around the world in other places. And in those places, our freedoms of speech are limited. And you might just, if you don't get in trouble, you'll just get shut off. It's like being blacklisted or brownlisted. No one will see it. You might get a few hundred views here or 1,000 to 2,000 views or whatever here, but everywhere else, it just won't be seen because the technology has gotten to the point now where they can do it if they want, if they so choose. It's crazy, right? It's a crazy world, but like I said, we don't own this platform. We're under privilege. It may have been started by DARPA with American taxpayer money, but at this point right now, it's private owned. So let me let's see. So Brett says I don't play any music when I film. And Bleach says no switches yet. I would keep them off. Another thing you could do too is like I just mentioned is a lot of people have started second channels. And the second channel is where they put certain things, which is not a bad idea. Money or, monetized or not, it really doesn't matter. They also start channels on other platforms that are a little bit more lenient. And that's where they talk about certain things. Whether or not that's a good idea remains to be seen. But they don't do it on YouTube, right? YouTube has changed, as we know. It has changed over the years. Like it or not, it has changed. And you want to consider that moving forward. And that's like I was saying earlier to kind of end that whole scenario out. And we'll go to Brett and then we'll get out of here because it's getting late. But to end the whole scenario out, what is the plan for now and moving forward into the future? we can talk about it and think about it and position ourselves both as YouTubers or as small engine mechanics or whatever kind of mechanic or a home builder or project-oriented person. A lot of cool things like, you know what, maybe I should go grab that electric mower, and Brett should, he's got his electric mower now from his cousin. Maybe you cut it open and put a lead acid battery on it and go cruising around and have some fun with it, right? Maybe that, and you make a YouTube video out of it, and it might do really, really well. I don't know, sounds like fun. Let's see. They let you use copyright music on the shores. Yes, and Facebook does a certain amount, or is it one of the other ones? But still, that's still gray area, and I just stay away from it, right? I just shut it off. Because when I first started, I got banged for having music in the background because I used to listen to the stereo. And I got banged like again and again and again. I'm like, geez, I'm never going to get anywhere with this crap. And if you're talking over it and the music is loud, nobody can hear you. They really don't understand what you're saying. You're screaming and over the music. And if you're not screaming over the music, then they can't hear you. So it's problematic, right? And if it's just in the background and YouTube is picking it up and they bang you because you click the switch, now that video's no good. Because you can't edit out the audio. The video's done. So you just dicked yourself, So, Bravo says, I've used music. That was copyrighted, but the owner of the copyright gives permission to use it. Yeah, that's different. Krista says, yep, that's exactly what's happening. Shangri-La says, that's why YouTube will go out of business. Could be. So in that last video that I did with the LiPo, I just tried that new LiFePo battery, right? And we put it in a different box just to try it. And of course, the new LiFePo batteries, right? They have these charging circuit protectors, overheat protectors built into the batteries and all that. And that's kind of newer technology as well. And then not only is it the way it's put into the batteries themselves, but that technology is improved over time. And then the battery composition is improved because this is a LiFePro lithium iron oxide phosphate. And so in the video that I'll be coming out with, or I stuck everything in this thing, and then we got to try it out, which I might talk a little bit more about it next week, because when Liz and I were working on her truck, trying to fix that issue, well, we killed the battery. Okay. And I'm like, awesome, right? She's like, that's not good. I'm like, yes, it is. I'm like, hold on. Because I want a little bit more footage for that video. I'm like, good. Now we get to try this thing out. The only thing I didn't do in the video, because it was late and we were exhausted, was I didn't show the click, 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 click. I didn't confirm live, while I was recording that, yes, her car was indeed dead. I just said it was, but it was. And then we threw this thing on there, and of course it kicked it right over. And so this has got a USB, it's got the air pump on it and all that. And we got, the test button, the light, the USB, the air pump, all the good stuff. But, the technology has definitely changed, and it's probably at the point now where we can start to really use this stuff and not just get ripped off, right? Because some of the earlier stuff, that she had it 10 years. Okay. And I'll finish up with this. I'll get us out of here on this. And then I'll just want to read and catch up. Those MTD crappy mowers that I'm complaining about, I'm making a big fuss over. They're about 10 years old, and that's what you get. That's all you're going to get, right? And then you throw them out. And if it's not for somebody like me or some of you fellas, it's not going to see the light of day again. And that really is no different than perhaps the earlier electric stuff. It's about 10 years, people are fed up with it. And unless somebody like Brett or us gets our hands on it, it's not going to see the light of day. It's done. For all intents and purposes, it's done. Unlike some of the older Craftsmans and whatever, or my favorite black machines from the 2000s and whatever, they're kind of done, but they're not done, because when I get my hands on it, it doesn't take a whole lot to put it back into service, and those old flatheads are just going to keep going. Let me catch up. So I don't want to get too deep into that because I want to catch up and get out of here. But Bleach says, makes sense, Archer, on the music. Yeah, it might. Consider it, right? It's something to consider. I mean, I'm not the arbiter of anything. I'm just bringing information that I get from my own experiences and from other people that tell me what they go through. Subscribe to Brett, good. And I appreciate the shout outs in the last pressure washer video. You got it, brother. Blood Nose says, went immediately to Charlie the shop cat. Yeah. I just wear headphones so I don't get batty working on stuff. Yeah, some people do that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people put the earbuds in and whatever. Fire it up! It did sound good. Both of them sounded good, actually. See, the electric motor sounds sweet. Love the spool up. Yeah, I know. I noticed that. That was nice. Johnny says, my yard is a half acre. I cut the front yard one day, the back another. An electric mower would work okay for me recharging between cuts. Yeah, and these are faster charges. And yeah, you can leave the batteries in, but I still wouldn't, but you can. I put my battery minders, the battery tenders on a lot of these batteries I'm fooling around with. And they're fine. Okay. They pretty much shut off. And again, these batteries also have like that technology inside them too. Sounds like a big vacuum cleaner. Yeah, because it is. I mean, if you didn't hear the engine noise on your machine, it would sound like a vacuum cleaner. Bravo says, I want GPS on electric start so it can cut my yard on. Yeah, because you can buy that today. You know, can you leave batteries in charge? Yep. Good job, Brett. Brett says, and he says, no, you remove them to charge, but as you saw, you're not having to wrestle match to remove the ego batteries. Yeah, you have to remove the batteries from the machine to charge them, but you can leave it in the charger. Will the day come when you can do everything on the machine? Maybe, but I don't think you really don't want your charging system in the dirt and the muck. Keep that separate. But other than that, just, I think it's an interesting move, and I'm not against. I like technology, as I've said this many times, but there are consequences to any leap forward. Like, you don't want the great leap forward. Who was that? Was that Mao? Remember Mao Zedong when he wanted to do the great leap forward? How'd that work out? That was painful for millions of people, maybe billions of people. Thanks for stopping in, everybody. I had a good time. I always enjoy spending my Saturday evenings with you fellas and ladies, and I will catch you guys on the next one. And I don't know, I had a good time. Interesting, it's probably some stuff that I probably make a bigger deal out of. It's a lot of fun, but I do get passionate about some of this stuff. And one of the things I don't like, though, is what I really get pissy about is when Americans lose jobs. And what I didn't cover was I sometimes get the feeling that both China and Russia are poised for a new kind of world order. And when we talk about the new world order, we have to consider that they're going to be a big part of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in there, they're pushing American companies and Americans out of jobs. And that void will be filled, and I'm not blaming anybody, but they'll be filled with Chinese stuff. Chinese engines coming over on lawnmowers, everything made by a Chinese company, sold here. And that I don't like. I don't like it when, like I said, I don't like it when my fellow brethren Americans and Canadians, the South Americans, and they were already involved in this, and we've already got things going on. I'm not particularly against that, but I just get the feeling that some of these voids will be filled, even if it's temporary. It will be filled in this way, and I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I'll see you guys later.